Well, yes, a very good afternoon. Absolutely no possibility of rain here today. It's a baking hot afternoon. We're high up in the hotel, looking over the ground. Barely a cloud in the sky. Kevin James next to me. A good crowd as well. We're all set. I don't know why I'm introducing it, but anyway, well, you're the home man.
I feel like the away man. Adrian Harms.
I know. Perhaps I'm getting a transfer, Kev.
Oh, I thought I was in Hove.
Perhaps like, yeah.
Mind you, it's not quite
perhaps
the same
something
weather.
I don't.
Not quite the same. Yeah, perhaps the person knows that I'm actually off.
Or perhaps I'm getting the heave-ho.
Got the big E. Yeah, not quite the same weather as it was in Hove for our game just over a week ago now. Was it just over a week or a bit longer?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was Saturday. Yes, it was. It was 8. I mean, there's been so much cricket, Kevin. I think it was 8 days ago.
Yeah. Well, here goes. And now, quite interesting, because 8 days ago, that match was Sussex in 3rd and Hampshire in 6th. And here we are, 8 days later. Hampshire come into this game in 3rd and Sussex in 5th.
Yeah.
So clearly there's been a change in form between both sides.
There has, and it's triggered a run of defeats. So Sussex lost to Hampshire in that game. Then Kent came to Hove on the Wednesday night. Sussex only posted 150. They had Kent 110 for 8. And Kent, a wonderful innings from Joey Everson, managed to get over the line. And then a poor performance at Chelmsford on Friday night, an Essex side. To be honest, Kevin, I can't quite understand why Essex have only won one game in the competition before Friday, because they were excellent on Friday night. They had Santa back in the side, they had Sam Cook back in the side as well, but they were really, really good, and Sussex were heavily beaten on Friday night. So a Sussex side that's a little low on confidence, it has to be said.
Well, Sussex it is that have won the toss, and they are going to bat first, and Adrian will give you their 2 views.
Yes, and unsurprisingly, 3 changes. There were hints that they might freshen things up for this game. Harrison Ward, left-hander, hasn't had a great tournament at the top of the order. He's out of the side. George Thomas, who's only played 1 match so far, that was against Surrey at the Oval. He's a young player who came from Somerset in the winter, so he opens the innings today. No Ollie Robinson today. I don't know if that's an injury. He seemed to be struggling on Friday night. Finn Hudson-Prentice comes in for Ollie Robinson, which has the additional benefit of strengthening the batting. And interestingly, Sussex have gone for a second spinner as well. James Coles, the left-arm spinner, always plays in this side. But Jack Carson, the off-spinner, who bowled really well here in the championship match a few weeks ago, he comes into the side as a replacement for Henry Crocombe. So Sussex, a big turnaround. What it does do with those changes, it definitely strengthens the batting, which has been a problem for Sussex in recent weeks.
Yes, so the turnaround for Hampshire didn't come immediately in the Sussex game, because they did lose to Somerset, but they have beaten Middlesex and Glamorgan in their last 2 games, which has significantly improved their chances to qualify for the quarter-finals. And I think the feeling is that they win here, and they are as good as in the quarter-finals, which I think we were all a little bit worried a couple of weeks ago. Hampshire, not surprisingly, are unchanged, although disappointingly it means that Chris Lynn, who hit that scintillating half-century at Hove and actually got the Hampshire innings underway to an unbelievably fast start, he's still injured. He has a tight hamstring, and it's a bit of a worry, because that is his one and only game so far. And of course both these sides only have 1 more game. No, you've got 2 more.
We've got 2 more.
We
play at Cheltenham College on Thursday against Gloucestershire, then Surrey last game at Hove.
That's right. So Hampshire only have 1 more after this, but they're unchanged, and they are Toby Albert, who scored his career best 98 not out against Glamorgan. He's at the top of the order with James Vince. Then comes Tom Press, Joe Weatherly, Hilton Cartwright, the lone overseas player now, James Fuller, Benny Howe, Liam Dawson, Chris Wood, Scott Curry and Sonny Baker. So Hampshire come into this having won their last 2. They have played 12 and won 6 with 1 tie, and that may prove crucial if the group gets even tighter than what it was. And as Adrian has already mentioned, Sussex have lost their last 3, including Hampshire's game, and lost 4 from their last 5. And it did look early on in this tournament as though Sussex would be one of the nailed-on sides to finish in the top 4.
Yes, it did. I mean, the first 6 games, they won 4 of those. They then got beaten heavily at the Oval, but apart from the win against Kent down at Canterbury, they've lost 4 of their last 5. So it's been a disappointing run. They were really disappointing on Friday night. They needed to make some changes. The interesting thing about the competition, though, Kevin, and I may have got my maths wrong, but I think that every side, assuming Somerset and Surrey are through, which they are, every side in the Southern Group has still got an opportunity to qualify for the quarterfinals, with the exception of Essex. The group is that tight. But as you rightly say, a win for Hampshire today. Their run rate is so good that they're almost through, and then it's going to be a scrap for the other places.
So as the table looks at the moment, Somerset with 2 left to play lead it with 40 points. Remember, it's 4 points for a win, and unlike the women competition, you don't get a bonus point, so you can only get 4 or 2, of course, if it's a tie or rained off, and none for a loss. So Somerset head it. Surrey still have 3 to play. They have 32 points, and then come Hampshire with 2 to play. They have 26, but it is a good run rate. In fact, of the top 3 sides, not quite as good as Somerset and Surrey, but it may help them come the end of the group stage, because Glamorgan sit in 4th, which is currently the last of the qualification places. They have 24 points, 2 points behind Hampshire, but their run rate is in the minuses just. Sussex have a good run rate.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's one thing that is in Sussex's favour.
Plus 0.3. They have 22 points, so that's 2 points behind Glamorgan and 4 behind Hampshire. And then come Kent, as you were saying, Adrian. They've got 22 points, the same as Sussex, so they're in this with a shout.
Yes, and sorry, Kate, I mean, they've got 2 home games as well to finish up of Kent. It's very tight.
It certainly is. And then come Middlesex and Gloucestershire with 16. They both have 3 matches to play. Technically, they're sort of mathematically in it, but you would have thought once everybody else plays everybody else over the next week or so, that might change. And then Essex, who Hampshire go to in their last game on Thursday, they bring up the rear with 10.
Well, we were at Essex on Friday night, and I just couldn't understand watching Essex how on earth they've only won 1 game. I mean, they were terrific. Michael Pepper, who had 100 against Sussex last year at home, batted beautifully, making 80 odd, and it was a real mauling for Sussex. I mean, Essex still had 3 overs and 5 balls to spare when they hit the winning runs, and you never quite know at Chelmsford, Kevin. I mean, there was a sellout crowd. It was a great atmosphere. So Hampshire will want to get the job done here, won't they? They won't fancy going to Chelmsford having to get a result over there, because it's not an easy place to go to.
No, they have actually picked up, you're right, Essex, because they were having an awful time of it, but they have picked up, which is probably a bad time for Essex to go to. So yes, try and get the job done tonight or this afternoon, and then see what happens at Essex. And it'd be nice to go there where nothing is on it.
Well, I mean, there are 2 wins in the competition. I mean, they beat Surrey at the Oval, and then did hammer Sussex on Friday night. But Sussex are smarting for that. They look really down on Friday night. But talking to Tamil Mills at the toss, you know, they've changed things around. They said they've had a few chats around things. They know what they need to do. You know, Sussex need to win here today. So this should be an absolute belter of a game. And when Tamil won the toss, there was no, he just went bat. So clearly Sussex think that's the way to go today. So we shall see.
Yeah, well, there seems to be a new thing. I think it happened with the women earlier, actually. There is sort of 11 boys that sort of form a crescent shape around the 30-yard circle at the far end of the ground, and then each individual Hampshire player walks up to them and signs their name. I'm not sure I've noticed that before.
No. Good crowd, though. I mean, I got in quite early, and I was watching some of the women's match. How terrific to see women's cricket supported as well it is down in Hampshire. That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, they have had crowds of over 4,000 officially for the women's game, even though it's part of a double header. But they do calculate it about halfway through the second innings of the women's game. So yes, there's a few here getting in early to watch a bit of cricket before the men's game. But you're right, it's been terrific. And yeah, it's boiling hot on the ground. We mentioned that during the women's game. It's boiling hot on the pitch. You went out there, you said, Adrian.
Really
hot. Feel the heat coming off the grass.
Oh my word! And actually, as I pulled into the car park, I drove across what used to be the golf course. It's like a desert, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, it's
yeah, that's usually where my ball ends up. And that's usually off the fairway. So your commentary team, myself, Kevin James and Adrian Harms. Charlie Hardman has stayed around with us. He'll be with us as well, having also commentated with me on the women's game where Warwickshire won that game and confirmed their place in T20 finals day for the women. That's the 27th of July at the Oval. Here we're underway with Chris Wood bowling the first delivery. Left arm over the wicket, and I think that's Harrison Ward facing first. No, it's not. It's
George Thomas and Daniel Hughes are opening the batting. So Harrison Ward has been dropped, and that was George Thomas, who's only played 1 game so far for Sussex. Came from Somerset in the winter, played at the Oval when he opened the batting. Didn't make a score at the Oval, but give it a chance because Harrison Ward has had a very disappointing tournament.
Apologies for that one. I only just made my way back from doing the women's interview.
Georgia
Hadams. No, that's fine. No, I just didn't get around to do it. Wrapped on the pad there was Thomas, and that should be a leg pie. as it goes out on the leg side. Yes, oh no, it's an inside edge onto it. So that's runs credited to the batter. Yeah, they're a little bit tight once the women's game finishes, and then you go over the other side of the ground, wait for the interview, do it, and then come back. It's a little tight, but the most important thing was, Adrian, I still managed some of that lunch.
It was nice, wasn't it?
Wasn't it just?
Actually, I probably, and I apologise, I probably stink of onions.
Well, I must do as well.
It was a lovely salad, wasn't it? Beautiful.
It was, yeah. I think it was African chicken they called it.
Yeah, well, it was lovely. So thank you, Hampshire.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Now, the left-hander, Daniel Hughes, is on strike as Wood comes in, comes down the wicket, just strokes that up towards mid-on. Whenever I look at Daniel Hughes now, I think of that run out, Hilton Cartwright at Hove. What an amazing run out that was.
It was. And interestingly, Paul Farbrace spoke on Friday night, was talking about the big players. He felt some of the big players hadn't quite achieved what they wanted, and he did name check Daniel Hughes, he name checked the skipper, Ollie Robinson as well. Just said, you know, whereas last year they really got the runs, cooked the wickets. This year it hasn't quite happened.
Wood's in. Hughes drives, goes out to deep point. There is a fielder in that area. It's a good bit of fielding. Joe Weatherly keeps it down to a single. Yes, I think Paul Farbrace has been known in the past to sort of not, you know, he's quite happy to mention names.
Yes, he is.
When he's talking about his team and perhaps not performing the way they should, which is unlike some head coaches, some players. They won't mention individuals, but he did a very good one, didn't he, after a game a couple of years ago, Paul Farbrace?
Yes, he did. But it's good, you know. But I think it's quite refreshing to see someone who speaks, you know, speaks their mind.
And he's clearly not afraid to do that, as that's played back to the bowler. Chris Wood playing his 217th T20 game today. He played his 200th for Hampshire in the last game against Glamorgan.
Wow, that's some record.
That is some record. But when you think there's players in this game who have played an awful lot more.
James Vince?
James Vince is into his 443rd T20 game. That is ridiculous. Here's Wood. That's flicked away in the air. Joe Weatherly, is he under it? No, it's going over his head.
6.
That's a beautiful shot there from George Thomas, which ends that over from Chris Wood. Lovely shot.
It was a good shot.
Lovely pickup.
Yeah, clipped away over square leg. Nicely played. That'll give George Thomas plenty of confidence. I have to say, I'd be telling fibs if I was saying with some of the games. I was keeping an eye on Hampshire, and the game against Middlesex at Merchant Taylor's School, I was watching that thinking, oh, Hampshire are in trouble here. And then the next minute I looked, and you'd won, and then of course you very easily, convincingly beat Glamorgan here. You know, back-to-back games, I mean, that must have been pretty tiring. So it's like Sussex have got next week. But you won the Glamorgan game as crucial as was the Middlesex game.
Yeah, they were, yeah. 2 wins on the bounce at this stage is mightily handy, because Hampshire were in danger of just losing touch with that top 4.
So it's going to be Sonny Baker from the pavilion end of the ground, the Shane Warne end of the ground, and running in towards us, both the left-handed Daniel Hughes. He's in and bowled, and Hughes looks to cut away on the offside. The ball dribbles through to keeper Albert, and there is no run. 10 without loss, Sussex. Just to reiterate, 3 changes for Sussex in the side today. George Thomas coming in for Harrison Ward, Jack Carson coming in for Henry Crocombe, and Finn Hudson-Prentice in for Ollie Robinson. So Sussex have gone in with 2 genuine spinners with Carson and Coles.
I think that's a good move. We saw the ball turn a bit for the women's game.
Comes bowls and pulled away by Hughes. He's going to get runs down here to find out. It's going to go away for 4 runs, but it wasn't quite where he intended that to go. Harrison Ward, he pulled it away. It's top edged over the keeper, and the ball runs away down below us for 4 runs. So Daniel Hughes goes to 5, and the Sussex Sharks off to a decent start, 14 without loss, but not where he intended that to go.
No, but it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
In this early stages, you get a couple of boundaries in quick succession like that. It really does start the momentum early in an innings, and yeah, from a Hampshire point of view, not ideal, but a good start.
Yep. Back to his mark is Sonny Baker. There's a slip in place as Baker is in running in. Bowls to Hughes, rather cramped. Hughes played onto the onside. They think about a single. Baker fields off his own bowling, looks to shy at the stumps because George Thomas had come out of his ground by a fair distance, but in the end he turned around and got back comfortably enough, and it's a dot ball. Sussex 14 without loss, having won the toss and deciding to bat first. One effect of those three changes, the Sussex batting does look a little stronger than it has done in recent weeks. Again, you feel that whoever wins this has got a very good chance of qualifying for the quarter-finals. A win for Hampshire, they're almost certainly there. In comes Baker, bowls and Hughes cuts this one away down to deep backward point and picks up a single, does Hughes. He goes to 6 and the Sharks to 15 without loss in the second over. How do you see this pitch playing, Kevin?
Well, it's a pitch that was used for a previous doubleheader as well, so it is a used pitch. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised Sussex have won the toss, elected to bat first. We did see a little bit of spin from Millie Taylor, the Warwickshire left-arm leg break bowler. Got a beautiful delivery to get rid of Freya Kemp that turned, drew Kemp into the drive and turned and knocked the off stump out of the ground. So there is a bit of turn there.
Baker again. Runs in right arm over the wicket. Bowls down the leg side, and that will be signalled as a wide, taken by Toby Albert. Another run to the total.
Career best figures in the game against Glamorgan for Sonny Baker, 4 for 20.
Yeah, and interesting actually, because obviously Hampshire won that game convincingly. Then Glamorgan go to the Oval the next night and score 221 and lose against. I mean, Dan Lawrence. I was sort of watching that ticking over. We were at the Essex game. Sorry, we're 18 for 3, and end up winning the game by 6 wickets. I mean, it's just bonkers, really. But he's capable of doing that, is Dan Lawrence. Comes again to Baker, bowls to Thomas, who's up on his toes and just plays that defensively down to third man and picks up a single. He goes to 10 and the Sharks to 17 without loss, with 1 ball remaining of the second over.
I think it's very difficult to predict, isn't it, T20? It's got worse over the years. I think the only thing you probably could say is that Somerset, I think on the whole, pound for pound, are probably a bit better than most of the teams. Surrey probably not far behind that. And if you catch them on a bad day, you'll win. So that's good. But I think for everybody else, it's when your luck's in, you cash in. And then it's gonna go away from you at some point, and you're going to lose some.
Couldn't agree more. Baker, final ball of the second over, in and bowls to Hughes, who plays us into the offside. They think about a single. It's well bowled by Sonny Baker. It is the end of the over, and the Sharks at the end of the second over are 17 without loss, with Thomas on 10. Hughes is on 6. What it has made for Kevin is it's a really exciting group, but you know, the weather's been fantastic for the T20 as well, and it's going to go to the wire.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's any game being affected, has there? I think there might be one.
Yes, we had a game against Essex that was rained off in the second innings, but that's the only game that's and it was a good job as well, because Sussex were going to lose that game.
Yeah, actually, and I think you're right, and I think there was Middlesex Kent at Lords.
Right.
I think that might have been rain effect as well. I'll have a double check, but you literally can count them on less than one hand. Right, Thomas to face Wood, start of a new over. He pushes that up to mid-off where James Vince fields. The wicket is really shiny as the hot sun beats down on it. The crowd, for what is a very hot day yet again, is a good one. Well, I say normally, they've been getting around, excuse me, about 8,000 here.
Very
Last game was a little bit less than that, but they might be, not quite 8,000, but it's still a good crowd. Plays and misses outside the off stump.
Well bowled.
I think that might have gone in between the bat and pad. That one may just have straightened a fraction on George Thomas, who just walks down the wicket and just pats it down, acknowledges a decent delivery.
I think attendances in general down at Hove have been okay. It was very good on the game against Kent, the midweek game that was virtually full, and it sold out for Surrey on Friday.
Well, that's good. It's pushed away to cover, fielded by Benny Howe. Straight to him, fortunately for Howe. So, I mean, are you of the camp that, because there is rumours that there's going to be, what, a couple of less T20s next year? Are you of that camp?
Yeah, I think I am. I just feel 14 is a bit too many. And if you've got 7 games at Hove, I just wonder whether you're better having 5 games with a full house rather than 7 where some of the games it isn't full. So yes, I am.
Agreed. Wood bowls, tries to have a smack at that one. It goes through to Albert.
Get over this, Kevin.
He's trying to smack a good length ball there, George Thomas.
Just wonder as well, you know, I mean, this is a big game. It feels like a knockout game. I spoke to Tamal before the start, and he said it feels like 3 cup finals now. That's a very football thing to say, but it is really for Sussex. And George Thomas will know, you know, he's got off with a boundary or a 6 in the first over. He'll just be feeling a little bit of pressure here now.
Just to repeat, Sussex just 1 place out of the top 4 at the moment as Thomas works that away with a more conventional shot on the onside. Dawson Fields, 18 without loss. I mean, there is a lot of cricket. I mean, I know here, just taking here, you know, coming up, you've got this one. You've got the Women's International on Wednesday, the one-day international. You've then got a Women's T20 game here, the Hampshire side on Friday. You know, it's a lot. And then you've got the home championship game starting next week. I mean, there's a lot of cricket, and that's on top of what we've just had. So it's a lot to ask people to keep coming out, but they have been doing. As giving himself some room there. Hughes, he's found the gap, backward a point, and that's going to go away for 4. Just managed to find enough of a gap to thread it through those 2 fielders behind square. 22 without loss, 3 gone.
Well, Daniel Hughes is absolutely key for Sussex. As you were saying, Kevin, he hasn't made the runs that he did last season, but so often this season, at Essex on Friday night, he made 27, which wasn't the biggest score, but he got Sussex off to a start. When he was out, wickets just seemed to fall away. I think that experience at the top of the order has been so important, and it's really important for Sussex here today. But you're right in terms of it, and so much cricket, as you say. And Sussex with a double header after this. They go to Cheltenham on Thursday night. They're back at Hove on Friday to play Surrey, which is, you know, they're not going to get back from Bristol. Well, that's actually at Cheltenham. You're not getting back till probably 2 in the morning. Game the next day. So, you know, Sussex won't want to leave it till the last game against Surrey at Hove. So, change of bowling as Thomas flicks that one down to mid-on and picks up a single. It's Scott Curry from the Shane Warne end. I thought actually we might get both Currys playing today because I saw Brad Curry warming up.
Yeah, what's happened to him? Because he didn't play in the game at Hove, did he?
No, he's been playing quite a bit because Scotland have had quite a lot of matches.
They have.
And he's been playing in those, as has Charlie Tier, who's a young Sussex wicket-keeper batter. But I saw Brad warming up and I thought, oh, I reckon he's going to play here, because Ollie Robinson didn't look fit to me on Friday. In comes Curry. Over the wicket, bowls to Hughes, who makes rooms, cuts that to backward point, but there is no run. This is good bowling by the Hampshire attack here. So yeah, so he's barely played in the competition. And I guess when you've got the likes of Nathan McAndrew, Ollie Robinson, Tamal Mills, it's difficult to force your way in. But Ollie Robinson he's clearly got some niggles, and you know, looked in some discomfort on Friday night. Curry in and bowls. Hughes clips this one off the hip down to deep backward square leg and picks up a single. Hughes goes to 11 and the Sharks to 24 without loss in the 4th.
Yeah, he's had a good tournament, Scott Curry. 19 wickets so far in this tournament, which has him equal 5th on the highest wicket takers so far this year.
Yep. The 2 men outside the 30-yard circle are both on the leg side of it. It's a deep backward square leg and the fielder at cow corner as in comes Curry and bowls, and Thomas drives down the ground. That's good looking shot by George Thomas, and he's going to pick very good bit of fielding. That is excellent at mid-on. I thought that was past. Is that James Vince? No.
Fuller.
Very, very good indeed. I mean, that looked like it was past James Fuller. That's the sort of bit of fielding that can really bolster a fielding side. That was terrific because there was like a couple of runs, maybe even a boundary. In the end, Thomas has to settle for a single. He goes to 13 and the Sharks to 25 without loss. Curry already back in again in his yellow shirt, in and bowls. Short from Hughes, it's pulled again, it's coming down towards fine leg. Rather fortunate from Daniel Hughes, going to run away, and that's 4 runs. Well, he wants a new bat, does Daniel Hughes, and that's 2 shots he's played out. Hasn't timed them at all, and he's picked up 2 boundaries. Yeah,
and that's where the unpredictable nature of T20 comes in, because everything that Glamorgan hit up in the air, even when it was mistimed, went to fielders. It was almost inevitable. As soon as the ball went up here, somebody was under it, and yet here we are a few days later, and those find the gaps, and that's just T20. You know, it's just like that for absolutely no reason. We could debate why that is for a week and not really come up with an answer.
No, I agree with you. And I agree, and that's the unpredictability that, you know, when we go into quarterfinals, you get a side who's run away with the southern group, Somerset. You know, they could play someone from the northern group who scraped in. On the day they beat them, it just happens. Form can go out the window. I think that's Brad Curry, who's bought out a new bat actually for Daniel Hughes. His brother's standing at the end of his run, hands on hips. Daniel Hughes goes to 15. I have to say it's been a streaky 15, but Sussex won't care about that too much. They need the Australian to be there, play a substantial role.
Yeah, he's a very dangerous player, indeed. You're right, he hasn't scored many runs this year, but
he's not
even though he hasn't scored that many, well, he's over 200, which I guess for him,
yeah, it would be. I think for Daniel,
it's low.
There's still a delay here. I think actually he was bought on a bat that he doesn't like, and they're bringing out another bat. Here we are.
But he's still striking them at 147.
Yes, and indeed the other night at Chelmsford, you know, very quick 27. You know, Sussex were going on nicely, 29 without loss after 3. Then all of a sudden they find themselves 109 for 5, and that's been the way it's gone over the last few weeks. He's got a bat he likes now, Kevin. When you played, how many bats did you have in your bag? I bet it was no more than 2.
I think when I was, well, I think at my height, the height of my career, whatever week that was, I think I might have sneaked 3 in, but
really?
That was about the most ever.
In comes Curry and bowls shoes down the leg side, taken by Toby Albert, and there is no run 3. That's...
Well, I was lucky. I mean, the players probably do the same now, but in those days, you know, I used to go up to the bat manufacturer in April.
Did you?
Used to get them made, and I would say, no, take a bit more off this, take a bit more off that, and this end, and that sort of thing. And then they knew what to send me if one broke, which was good.
Bowls does Curry, and Hughes plays an elegant stroke through the offside and picks up a single, fielders by the sweeper on the cover boundary. Hughes goes to 16, 31 without loss at the end of the 4th. I think both sides will be reasonably happy. Sussex haven't lost a wicket, which is always good news in the power play. They're scoring at about 8 and over, and I think Hampshire won't be too upset about that either.
No, ideally you want a wicket by now. You don't want the momentum to build, because you've only got 16 overs left and 10 wickets to play with, so Sussex, Sussex for me are just maybe slightly ahead, but not much. Interesting, that last ball, Scott Curry got quite excited there because it was a slower ball, very clever slow ball, but Hughes played it well. And it's one of those where the batter goes at it and it goes up in the air, but Hughes actually waited and picked it up at the last moment. It's a really good bit of cricket all round. Looks like Sonny Baker is going to switch ends here. He's going to bowl from the commentary end, a hotel end here at a very, very warm Utilita Bowl. The outfield looking pretty lush in most places, but showing some signs of being parched in others as Baker comes into the left-hander Hughes, who drives through square point, and that's gone for 4. That's hammered away. Well, that located the middle of the bat all right.
It did. There was a nice, that lovely sound as it all cracked away out the middle of the bat.
So 35 without loss. Hughes has 20 from 13. George Thomas at the other end is 13 from 12. With every boundary like that, it makes Sussex look like they're building a nice base here. Again, lots of yellow shirts around the crowd. I do like to see that. It's one feature of the crowd here over a number of years, but especially this year. It's pulled out around on the leg side, doesn't quite get hold of it. It goes to Chris Wood on the short, fine leg position.
I think he's annoyed with himself there that he didn't cash in Daniel Hughes. It was down the leg side. He could have almost let it go and got a wide, but it's flipped away to, as you say, short, fine leg. The standard of cricket I played, Kevin, no one had their own bat. You had the club kit that arrived in the middle of the dressing room, and you picked up your favourite bat. There was only ever 2 or 3 in there.
Did one person have the favourite bat, so when you walked out to bat, you had to exchange the bats?
Totally,
yeah. That happens. Imagine that here. There's a swung away there, Hughes misses.
It's not a wide either.
Now he's outside the leg stump.
Yeah.
Even though it's beaten leg stump, comes through to Toby Albert.
Oh, many a time you go out to bat, and I wasn't very good, and so I never got the best bat in the bag. Happy days though.
Oh, we feel sorry for you, honestly. So halfway through the 5th, Sussex winning the toss, selecting to bat first. The women have already played on this wicket where Warwickshire recorded a victory. To see them through to women's finals day. Hughes cracks that away through point. That'll be 4 more. Almost exactly the position and the place that he hit the boundary earlier on in this Sonny Baker over. Yes, Warwickshire got 165 for 9. There were 76 for 6 at one stage. but recovered through Davina Perrin and made 70. Hampshire were short by a few. They finished on 149 for 6.
He's just put that fielder on the cover boundary a bit squarer. Kevin, those two boundaries have both gone in pretty much the same place.
Yeah, well, there's one gone backward a point, isn't there? I suppose they're trying to put the fielder where the ball's going, but they're never quite sure. It gets wrapped on the pad, come through for a leg by. 40 without loss in the 5th. So there were 1 or 2 umbrellas up in the crowd earlier because it was so hot down there. I think 1 or 2, oh yeah, they're still up. Actually, the ones that were up earlier are still up. It's a bit odd, isn't it, when you see the sun out and you see umbrellas up in the crowd.
I went to a music festival yesterday.
Oh,
in a big field, yeah, up near Molesey in Surrey. They call it Boogie Town, and it said no umbrellas, but most people, well, a lot of people had umbrellas, and it was, you know, it's like a big field, no shade, and plenty of people sheltering under umbrellas.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, it was boiling.
Was it a good?
It was very good. Yeah, it was excellent.
Any recognisable acts as Baker comes in? That's a drive by Thomas, just falls short of Vince at mid-off by about 1.5 foot. End of the over, 40 without loss. That's 5 overs gone.
Yeah, they were. I mean, you know, our era really, Kevin. Cool and the Gang were the headline. They had UB40 and Sister Sledge.
Wow.
So it was really good. Yeah, it was a really good afternoon. It was better, to be honest, when the sun went down and it got a lot cooler.
Yeah.
We were, you know, looking for. There were some big flags as you came in, and we managed to sort of get in the shade of the flag. That's how hot. Of course, the sun kept moving and the flag kept blowing, but no, it was good.
How many there?
Yeah, loads. I mean, thousands. The only problem was it took us an hour and a half to go out the car park at the end, which was a bit of a dirge. But no, it was a very nice afternoon. Has James Vince hurt his hand?
I'm just trying to locate him. Where is he?
He's talking to a couple of the Hampshire lads at mid-off or mid-on.
Do you think he's favouring it?
He does, yeah. What do you think? It's a chat about a bowling change, or?
Yeah, he looks all right.
They won't want to use the skipper.
No, we don't. No, he's all right.
No, he's okay.
A change of bowling. It looks like.
Is it James Fuller?
James Fuller, I think, yeah.
He's going to come into bowl this final over of the power play. Coming into bowl to the left-handed Australian Daniel Hughes is on 24 off 17 deliveries, and Fuller is in. Bowls to Hughes. You've rather cramped Hughes, who pushes that to mid-off. They take a single, a well-judged single, and one more to Hughes. He goes to 25. The total to 41 without loss.
Looks very dry out there, doesn't it?
Oh.
Those wickets to the right, 2 of them. Wow.
Are there any talk of water restrictions down in this part of the world, Kevin?
I think they've got their own well here.
Right, okay. That's useful.
I think I'm right in saying, yes. I think they've got their own water supply. I'm sure I asked that question years and years ago, actually.
Comes Fuller, bowls to George Thomas, who hits this one away. Always that. I'm not sure if that carried to backward point. It was Joe Weatherly who was there. I'm not sure if it pitched just in front of Weatherly. It might have been a very good bit of fielding, actually. Was it? I thought it was Weatherly.
I thought it was Weatherly, yeah.
Showing Chris Wood. I'm not sure if you see a replay of that. I just thought it was short. He did well. It was one of those, maybe you decide to go for the catch, but either way, I think he prevented a boundary.
Awkward stop that.
Yeah, very awkward.
What do you do?
And often when the outfield is as dry, you know, it looks amazing. It's very lush, but you know it's dry and you can get bounces which make it very difficult. Fuller in again. Hughes down the wicket, hammers that away. It doesn't go at all where he intended it to go, and a very, very fine piece of fielding. Down at backward square leg, very good indeed. Throw comes in, but that prevented a boundary. That's Weatherly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very good. Prevents a couple of runs. Get an unorthodox shot by Daniel Hughes. He goes to 27. As I say, he's very important for Sussex at the top of the order, and this is a decent start for Sussex, which they really haven't had in the competition so far. They've been struggling at the top of the order, so they're setting a decent base. Whether they can go on from the decent base, we'll wait and see. As Fuller in and bowls wide of the off stump, Hughes cracks that away, and he's caught an extra cover, and Daniel Hughes will be very annoyed with himself. Was outside the off stump and he's just carved that away. into the hands of extra cover, and it was caught by Benny Howell. And the Sharks are 44 for 1, and it is always a big wicket when Daniel Hughes goes. And I think Kevin will be disappointed with that shot.
Yeah, he will. I mean, he seemed to have a lot of time. He had time to pick his spot, had time to either lift it over the field. I think he was going for placement rather than worrying about with the ball being in the air. He's just got that wrong. And that's a mistake. And a welcome wicket, really, because there was the basis there, and there still is, for Sussex to get a good total here.
And thank you, Kevin, for getting me out of jail, because I didn't realise who'd taken the catch, but it was Benny Howell who took it. But I can't stress how important a wicket that is. It's just there's a fair degree of inexperience around the Sussex top order, and Hughes just seems to bring that experience. Still, an opportunity for others. Tom Clark, the new man in, who I'm sure Tom would recognise he played a really poor shot at Chelmsford on Friday night. He also had the misfortune to be fielding in front of the low stand at Chelmsford that's always full of sort of like football fans, and he was getting a fair amount of stick, was Tom, and he handled it really well. In comes Fuller, bowls to Clark, who works that one down to backward square leg. They've taken one, but they won't take another good bit of fielding down there by Weatherly, who prevents the second run being taken. The total goes to 45 for 1. You know that stand I mean?
It's unusual for Chelmsford, that.
Oh, it was really... And poor Tom, every time he fielded the ball, they were yelling. I mean, it was all in good heart, because Essex were winning, and Tom had to take a lot of stick, and he coped with it very well, so... It's a bit of a bear pit, isn't it, on a Friday night at Chelmsford? Yeah, it was absolutely packed. Fuller, it's been a good over this. Runs in towards us and bowls to Thomas, who hammers that down the ground. My word, that's come right out the middle of the bat, and that's gone for 6 runs. Straight down the ground, second 6 from George Thomas. That's just what Sussex needed at the end of the over. It's ruined what had been a very good over from James Fuller. But the 50 is up for Sussex, 51 for 1 at the end of the power play. 11 coming off of the over. George Thomas on his debut goes 2. It's just disappeared off the scoreboard, but we'll see that in a moment's time. But that was just what he goes to 20.
Thanks, Adrian. It's going to take a break. Charlie Harden is coming in alongside me for the next few overs. So Daniel Hughes, the one wicket that has fallen, made 27 from 20 balls. Welcome back, Charlie.
Thank you, Kevin. It was a comfortable start there for Sussex until Daniel Hughes fell to the arm of James Fuller. You got the sense that all Hampshire needed was just a little breakthrough. It was a great start for Sussex, but they now sit 51 for 1. And you get the sense Hampshire have just clawed their way back into this game. And pace off needed, I believe, and in comes Liam Dawson.
Yeah, a man you can depend on as he comes in and bowls, and that's driven away by Clark out towards deep mid-off where Scott Curry fields. He's only conceding just over 7 and over in this year's tournament, which is a fantastic return for a spinner. 11 wickets as well in that. Me and Charlie had a bit of fun, didn't we, in the women's game, where we were quoting stats at each other as if we were playing tennis. We'll leave that game behind. Yes. Honours were even at the end of it, so we thought we'd call it an honourable draw. So that's driven down the ground by Thomas, who moves on to 21, and it's 53 for 1 in the 7th over.
Yeah, we shook hands at the end and decided just to leave it be, I think, didn't we?
We shared the prize money. And the rankings that came with it. Here's Dawson. So flicked away in the air, but there's nobody out there. Dawson runs after it to mid-wicket. Fairly safe shot there from Clark.
I think it'll be very interesting, Kevin, just to see how Liam Dawson goes about his bowling today, and also how expensive he turns out to be, because it was a great highlight of the women's game, especially in that second innings. The Birmingham Bears spin bowlers especially were a great highlight of that game, especially Hannah Baker, taking 3 for not many.
Well, we're expecting the odd one to grip at least, aren't we? Maybe not big turn, but the odd one should just go a little bit as he bowls. There's a sweep shot. It's gone fine. Runs here. Chase for Sonny Baker is not going to make it in time. And that's a good looking sweep shot from George Thomas. And Sussex move on to 58 for 1, and Thomas on to 25 from just 17 deliveries.
Yep, a wide ball down the leg side from Liam Dawson. And it's given the treatment by Thomas.
Dawson in again. That's more of a good line, which is worked up to deep mid-off with Benny Howe fields. 59 for 1 Sussex. They'll be happy with this start after a bit of a lull from them. They've lost their last 3. In fact, they've lost 4 from their last 5, Sussex, after a really good start to the competition. This can happen in T20s, whereas Hampshire started well, had a bit of a lull in the middle and have come back well. Here's Dawson again to the left-hander Thomas, who cuts that away. Has he found the gap? He more or less just palmed away. Fortunately, that was just stopped 4 runs. They'll come back for 2. That ends Dawson's first over. Sussex is 60 for 1.
Yep,
9 runs off it, yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. 9 runs off it there from Liam Dawson. 60 for 1 is the scoreline. And George Thomas looks to be playing the perfect opening role at the minute. He's just played a slightly second change to Daniel Hughes early on, as Hughes found a few 4s off the bat, especially through that offside region. But George Thomas now just taking the reins of this innings, as Sussex look to be in a good position now to push on and set a strong total for Hampshire to chase.
On the live picture feed, they're interviewing the Mary Taylor and Millie Taylor twin sisters. That was a very quick interview because between overs you ain't got a lot to ask. Millie Taylor on the winning side, Mary Taylor on the losing side earlier.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got them that close together after that that last game. Millie Taylor was obviously very happy to be nice and close to Mary, but Mary on the losing side earlier today. On comes Benny Howe. He could be crucial today for Hampshire. This one just works out towards long on. A diving effort from mid-wicket, can't stop it. It's 1 run to the score of George Thomas. 62 for 1 now. I do think Benny Howe, as always, he always does play a huge role, but I do get the sense on this wicket that his variance of pace and all the variations that come with Benny Howe's bowling, not to mention his luminous green slippers, which he's rocking again today as he bowls in. And it's just dropped by the keeper. I'm not sure if there was an edge, but it was definitely a miss through to the keeper that came off Toby Albert's gloves. Beats the bat there, Benny Howe.
You're never quite sure when the ball's arriving at you. Sometimes it hardly arrives at all.
Benny Howe turning at the top of his runner. Tom Clark on strike, working into the leg side. It's caught a little bit of dust on the first bounce, but it's picked up by deep backward square leg. Will be 1 run. Benny Howe's taken 13 wickets in the tournament so far, an average of just 18 runs per wicket, with best figures so far coming with his 2 for 12. That was his best figures in the tournament so far. Benny Howe bowls, and it's just edge behind square on the offside. The call through to a run, and they get there safely. Liam Dawson picks up and throws it back towards Benny Howe's end. And the umpire gets in the way of Benny Howe, and the ball's drifting off to long off, but the Sussex men won't take any runs. The ball is dead. 64 for 1, 3 runs off it so far from Benny Howe.
This is really good. I think he's the ideal bowler on here, actually. With a used surface, very, very slow.
Here he is into Tom Clark, pushing confidently out towards long off. They're going to come back for 2. It's good running between the wickets here from these 2 Sussex batters. But you're absolutely right, Kevin. You feel it's pace off on this wicket is all that's needed. Liam Dawson and Benny Howe probably going to bowl in tandem, maybe for the next few overs. But these 2 are going to be pivotal in this bowling innings for Hampshire. This one works straight down the ground. Did Benny Howe get a hand on it? I'm not sure, but long off comes round to defend it, and it's just gone over the boundary. Scott Curry can't quite keep it in, and it's a good 4 down the ground to end the over from Benny Howe. And Sussex now 70 for 1. George Thomas 28 not out, and Clark's on 12.
Well, there's been a few overs already in this innings where the last ball has gone for a boundary, whether that's a 4 or whether it's been a 6. Just that last ball is costing Hampshire a little bit here. Sussex will definitely now be the happier of the 2 sides. I don't think we're going to get a massively scoring game. I don't think we're quite going to get a situation we got here against Glamorgan the other night, where Hampshire got 200. Mind you, Glamorgan failed miserably in their reply, 113, but I don't know. I'll wait and see. If somebody gets in, you just never know. Dawson bowls, turned away on the onside by Thomas. They're going to look for two. They are. They're going to take the throw on. And Joe Weatherly had a lot to do from deep mid-wicket. The ball never ever made the 30-yard circle. And that's really good running here. That is a classic situation on this ground of always looking for twos when the ball doesn't make the discs.
Tough on a day of this heat as well, Kevin.
Yeah. Interesting talking to Georgia Adams actually at the end of the women's game, as that's hit around off the back foot by Thomas, finds Vincent extra cover. Georgia Adams says it was oppressively hot out there in the middle. She said it was really difficult to sort of get air. She said it was very, very warm indeed. And she's played a lot of cricket in Australia over the last couple of winters. Turned away fine on the onside, off an inside edge. Come through for another single, 73 for one. So that'll give you an idea of what the players are feeling out there in the middle. And of course, a lot of the crowd will be feeling that as well, because I walked round the Bowen at the break. You know, the concrete or the bricks at the top and off, shining off that, the heat. So yeah, even the crowd in the seats will be feeling it today, as if they haven't been feeling it for quite a while. It's not like this is a one-off day. But the weather is turning, I'm told. As that's turned away on the offside by Clark. It's running out towards extra cover. It will be picked up just inside the rope by Weatherly, away to our right. I think it's about Wednesday where, or maybe even Tuesday, where the temperature gets a little easier, and then chance of rain a bit on the Wednesday, and that's not good news with England women here. So Charlotte Edwards, she's here today. The England team have arrived apparently after winning their game off the last ball last night, as that's a reverse sweep. He's wrapped on the pad, not out, says the umpire. So the England team are here after a morale boosting win against India last night off the last ball, although it couldn't stop them losing the series, T20 series, by 3-2. One-day international start here on Wednesday. 74 for one. We're in the 9th over. Dawson around the wicket to the left-hander Thomas, who can't find the angle. In fact, the scoreboard was one ball away, and so was I. Apologies. End of the over, 74 for one.
Liam Dawson just taking back control of this match here. The experienced left arm spinner, he's coming round the wicket at the minute. Just looks to be getting a couple to grip and a couple to slide on, and especially to the left-hander. It's a lovely angle coming from around the wicket, looking to either push it across the bat of the left-hander or spin it back through the green. It's a great angle he's bowling here, and to no surprise, Benny Howell, to keep that pressure on, he's coming on from the pavilion end. 75 for one, Sussex. George Thomas will be on strike to face up to the infamous Benny Howell off his short run-up. He bowls right arm over the wicket, worked into the leg side off the back foot. They're running the first one hard, but they won't come back for two. As you say, Kevin James, it's a great sign of cricket teams always pushing that first one hard on games on this ground. And coming back for two is a crucial thing if they are to get over the line in these cricket matches. Benny Howell again, swept into the leg side. It's high, it's long, and it's six. Straight over the head of Joe Weatherly. Joe Weatherly at deep mid-wicket really had no interest at all, but it was a brilliant shot. Got on one knee, slog sweeping out from Tom Clark all the way over the mid-wicket boundary for a six. It's bounced over the seats over on that side. It's bounced on the concrete and bounced towards the car park. Terrific shot from Tom Clark, sending Benny Howell's ball out of the ground.
Yeah, short boundary side on the west side of the ground to our right. Not by very much, but I think if you were aiming for one, especially the left-hander, that is definitely the boundary you'd be thinking about.
Howell then again, pushing out towards long off. It's a chance for a run out, but it's just a little bit of a misfield. Extra cover came running round there to come and pick it up and have a shot at the stumps, but couldn't quite pick the ball up cleanly.
James Vince. Yeah, if he got that cleanly, that would have been fine.
Now the right-handed George Thomas on strike. Long on, long off quite wide as Benny Howell bowls, and it's pushed out to that long off. Will just be one run. Deep mid-wicket and a deep backward square leg, or kind of a wide fine leg actually for George Thomas, but now the left-handed Tom Clark's back on strike. We've got 5 deep fielders, 3 out on the leg side. And we've got a long off and a deep cover point As Benny Howe has 2 balls left in his over. This one sweeping again. Joe Weatherly a little bit more interested, but it is 6 again. Joe Weatherly, a deep in wicket, did look a little bit more interested that time, but a slog sweep from Tom Clark is 2nd of the over to Benny Howe. A brilliant shot there from Clark.
Yeah, plenty of power in that one as well. Just watching the replayers. Yeah, it's sort of in the slot for that slog sweep. I mean, you've still got to play it well, but my word, that's 2 big hits.
15 off the over so far. Benny Howe pushing out towards deep cover point. They're going to push the first one hard, and they're going to come back for the second, as they've got to be quick, but it's more brilliant running from this Sussex pair as they get up to 92 for 1. An expensive over there. That over going for 17 from Benny Howe. And we'll see if Liam Dawson comes back on, but I wouldn't be surprised if Benny Howe gets taken off the bowling after that obliteration from Tom Clark.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a struggle to bowl a bit too straight to the left-hander, because it allows that pick-up to the short boundary side, and he's clearly got that in his sights. So you've probably just got to alter your line a little bit, maybe a little bit more outside off stump. You might give away sort of more runs on a regular basis in terms of 1s and 2s, but I think what it will do is take away the maximums a little bit out of the equation. It might be just sort of damage limitation, really, to say, well, I might have to be prepared to go for 7 or 8, maybe even 9 and over, rather than 2 big punts out of the ground, and I've gone for 12 off 2. I'll wait and see. Liam Dawson to continue from our commentary end. 2 overs, none for 15. Sussex, a good start here. 10 overs, 1 for 92. That's the Australian way of saying it, 92 for 1. That's a cut out on the outside. Why I'm saying it like an Australian, I don't know, because I haven't been over there for years.
Must be the heat, Kevin.
It must be the heat. He's getting to me, you're right. Long days, these T20s. They're good fun, but long days with the 2 games packed into one day. 93 for 1. There's Clark, who's 29 from 15, the left-hander. 24 years old, playing his 34th T20 match today. He's facing Dawson again. Comes in and bowls and hits that away. Oh, he doesn't know where that's going. I can tell him it's gone out towards deep square leg. He was trying to hit that away on the offside. It hits the inside half of the bat, and he's looking around as he was running, saying, "Where has that gone?" You have to trust your partner in those situations, don't you? So if your partner says run, you just have to run and just hope that they've got it right, which they did. 50 up, this partnership, and it's come off just 28 balls between George Thomas and Tom Clark, as that's flicked away on the leg side by Thomas. Goes out towards deep mid-on, and the total moves on to 95 for 1. So we're on the live picture feed, which is going out on the Hampshire cricket website, and that will be beamed back as well to the Sussex cricket website. We're also on the BBC Sport website and app, and we're also live on all frequencies, BBC Radio Sun. Kevin James, Charlie Harden with you currently as Dawson bowls. That's flicked away or swept away down towards deep square leg by Clark, and the total moves on to 96 for 1. You just feel Sussex are in control here a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. They've got off to a fine start here, just finishing the 11th over. Just 4 off that 100 mark. They're in a great position.
Now, just Daniel Hughes, the wicket to have fallen. He's gone for the sweep from way outside off stump. So far outside off stump, it's called a wide. Not much in it.
Just trying to work to that short leg side boundary here.
Right, yeah.
George Thomas, after watching Tom Clark do it twice in the last over.
He said, I want some of that as well. As he plays that away to extra cover, Vince will pick it up, but doesn't pick it up, if you know what I mean. He was lining up a one-handed throw, but it just didn't stick in the hand as the batters come through for a single. 98 for 1. Last ball of the 11th over coming up. Lots of people having a little walk around the ground. The ice cream van has got a queue. That's not surprising. Away to our left, I think I'd have an ice cream van out, today. As that's played out to mid-on. Low full toss from Dawson. Well, there was never more than 1 a ball, and I think Dawson will settle for that, with Sussex only having lost 1 wicket, which means they've got 9 to play with in these last 9 overs. Yeah, 99 for 1.
Yep, Sussex have shown great quality in this batting inning so far. Not a huge amount of risk, but a lot of running hard, pushing that first single especially hard, which is very tricky on a hot day. And as we've heard from the players of the women's game, how stiflingly hot it is out there, especially for the batters under all the equipment that they've got on today and every day. But Scott Curry will take the ball from the pavilion end as we begin the 12th over. Sussex 99 for 1. George Thomas is not out on 36, and Tom Clark at the other end, who hit Benny Howe for 2 brilliant sixes over the short leg side boundary, is on 32, I believe. But Scott Curry, Hampshire's leading wicket taker of the competition so far, is on to bowl. He bowls to Tom Clark, who slashes it out towards deep cover point. They push the first one hard. They're going to come back for 2. There really shouldn't be 2 there, and they've done absolutely brilliantly. That's quality running between the wickets there from Tom Clark.
I'm off at the end of this over, so I'll quickly get through this email from Paul Williams. We were talking about the ground and the water situation. He clearly knows his water, says Paul Williams. Hampshire Cricket at bbc.co.uk. He says the Hampshire team isn't drawing directly from the municipal water mains for its lawn and ground irrigation anymore. Instead, the site relies on recycled grey water.
Curry in again. An attempted pull shot, playing a miss. I want to hear about the grey water.
The site relies on recycled grey water and on-site systems to meet its needs, demonstrating a strong commitment to sustainability. I think Paul should be the next press officer here. That clearly feels like a press release.
Brilliant work, Paul. I wonder what grey water is. It doesn't sound particularly
Not
nice
for
to drink.
No,
Yeah.
I think you're right. No, don't think I'll be drinking any of that, even if I'm dying of thirst.
Curry, the 5th leading wicket taker in their blast. It's a good delivery, just inside edge down onto the ground and goes through to Toby Albert for no run.
One here from Peter Groves, who decides on where the boundary ropes are set. Well, the home team, basically. It's what that home advantage is all about. He's sat in the shade. Good shout, Peter.
A lot of the crowd today clustered in the shaded area up around the pavilion on either side as Scott Curry bowls in again. It's short, cut to the cover fielder, attempt for a run out, but it's just missed. Well backed up by Scott Curry. Now that was the riskiest run we've seen yet. Brilliant connection on the cut shot out towards cover, and it was attempted run out, and if it was a direct hit, I reckon Tom Clark would have been struggling.
Very quickly, this one from David Boyle. He says, you seem to be in favour of fewer T20 fixtures. I think the Hampshire CC members might not be so enthusiastic if they're going to be getting less for their money. Yeah, well, that was a point before when it's been muted.
Scott Curry, 2 balls to go in his over. It's gone for 3 so far, and it's attempted pull shot. It's gone in the edge, short fine leg, a chance for a run out, but they've got through for 1. Blimey, out of the delivery. A short ball there from Scott Curry. And it looked like George Thomas tried to walk down the track and pull it, and then ended up ducking halfway through, top edged it to short fine leg, who had a chance at a run out from Sonny Baker. Blimey.
Yes, things going Sussex's way. They're playing well, but you just get the feeling these little moments are just going the away side's way here.
Scott Curry, last ball of the over. It's inside edged over the keeper, and it's going away for 4. I think he's inside edged that down onto the ground. It's then bounced over Toby Albert, I think, potentially. And that's 107 for 1. And the Scott Curry's over.
Charlie's going to stay on. Charlie Harden. And Adrian Harms will come alongside him from BBC Sussex, with his side going very, very well here at 107 for 1. Adrian.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. There's some changes to the Sussex side today, and so far they've worked out, particularly George Thomas at the top of the order, 37 off 29. It's given Sussex a start which they haven't had in a lot of games recently. Perhaps Hampshire not quite getting the rub of the green here, because that was a good over, wasn't it?
It wasn't.
You know, they pick up a boundary off the final ball.
Yeah, indeed. It was a good over, but it just felt like Hampshire there's a little bit more pressure they could be putting on the Sussex batsmen right now. They're bowling well, however, in the field, it feels like they're a little bit lax.
James Fuller comes running into bowl to the right-handed George Thomas. Just his second match for Sussex, is in and bowls and pulled away by Thomas. He's going to be caught down at long on. He is caught. Well, he made absolutely nothing of that, and in fact he was caught down on the long on boundary by Scott Curry, who sort of kicked the ball away with frustration. Not quite sure why he was so annoyed, Scott Curry. Nonetheless, he picks up a wicket, does James Fuller, and the very good innings of George Thomas comes to an end. He'll feel he'll done his job, because I suspect by that stage, Charlie, you're starting to think, well, I'm in now, I need to get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. George Thomas really building up his innings really well so far. However, it was getting to a stage where he needed to start really hitting some more boundary shots. And he hit that one quite nicely out towards long on, just slightly the wrong trajectory, going straight down the throat of Scott Curry, who after his last over, where, as you said, he bowled well, didn't quite get the reward for his bowling, was a little bit frustrated, but he took the wicket nonetheless, and we're now 107 for 2.
I guess the thing is now, I mean, Sussex have got a good base. And you know, you'd have watched enough T20 cricket, so have I, that often these situations can change very quickly because the new batter coming in thinks, we've got a good base, I want to build on the base, but you don't want to take too many risks, you don't want to be too slow. So just be interesting to see how James Coles plays this now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Sussex are in a very good position, but they'll want to consolidate from here, so maybe it's consolidation and then 5 overs to go. I mean, they'll be looking in the region of 200 here. Yeah,
we saw in the women's game that this pitch and these conditions are very prone to a collapse. We need to make sure that doesn't happen here.
Fuller in and bowls to Coles. He's up on his toes, punches into the offside. There is no run. I'm just looking at the Sussex attack today, just watching the way that Benny Howler's bowled. So Sussex have got bowlers who can take pace off, people like Danny Lamb. They've gone in with the 2 spinners, but we haven't seen any. I know there's some turn in the women's game, but haven't seen too much turn from Liam Dawson. And there is this short boundary on one side of the ground, so difficult to sort of give any reasonable estimate of what a good score is here today. But it's a quick outfield. Fuller is in, bowls to James Coles, and Coles plays that well. That's not where he intended. He was looking to play that down to long off, fielded it long on, just a single. This is a good over from James Fuller. A wicket, dot, and just a single. Tom Clark going along very nicely. He's on 39, a couple of big sixes off of Benny Howell, which went many rows back, in fact out onto the concourse with one of them.
But yeah, you get the sense that a score around maybe 180, 175 plus is going to be a tricky chase on this wicket, I think.
Interesting. Fuller on his way in. Bowls, Clark clips onto the onside. Is he going to be caught? He should be caught. Indeed he is caught. And another wicket goes down, and it almost picks up your point, Charlie. There's suddenly, and this has been a feature very much of Sussex's campaign, they've suddenly lost wickets, and all of a sudden they've lost 2, and you've now got 2 batters coming in who, you know, James Coles has got 1, but suddenly the tables have just turned a little bit.
Yeah, we saw it in both innings in the women's game. Clusters of about 5 wickets falling for 50 runs in both innings, showing that it's a tricky pitch to come in and get set on. And as you said, Adrian, prior, that actually it's really important now that we consolidate. We don't necessarily look to build on it straight away with more boundaries, but Sussex needs to make sure now that they don't lose more than the wickets they have done in this little cluster, and they've got to just start building it. They've got to understand they've still got time left in the game before they go all guns blazing later down the line.
Well, it's been a good over from James Fuller. How often do you see this in T20 cricket, that one over comes and it just completely changes the context of the game? And suddenly Hampshire will be thinking, actually, we're back in this, and the Sussex batters coming in and thinking, well, you know, we can't go hell for leather here now. We've got to, you know, perhaps build from here. Anyway, the new man in is a former Hampshire player, Tom Alsop, who comes to the middle. He's been in and out the side, Tom Alsop. He's had a couple of injuries in this T20 campaign, but he's very important for Sussex in this middle order. Hampshire will know his game, of course. So, in comes Fuller. 108 for 3, around the wicket. Bowls to Tom Alsop, who cracks that one away through the offside, and that's... Let's see where that went. I think that was a very good bit of... Oh, has it gone for 4? It has gone for 4. I thought for a moment it had been fielded in the cover. So first ball, and it was belted out in the middle of the bat. But I lost the track of that ball completely, but it's gone through extra cover for 4 runs.
Raced away like lightning.
Didn't it? I thought for a moment it had been fielded in the covers, but that came right out in the middle of Tom Alsop's bat. James Fuller has taken all 3 wickets so far. 3 for 16, and he comes into bowl to the Sussex left-hander. He's in and bowls, and Alsop is beaten outside the off stump. That's a very good delivery by James Fuller, and a very good over as well by the tall, medium, fast bowler who's such. I mean, he won the game for Hampshire at Middlesex at Merchant Taylor's School a few nights ago. A win that really kept Hampshire in the competition, and he's bowled beautifully here today.
Yep, first time in the tournament he's got more than just 1 wicket in a match, and he got 2 in 1 over there, taking a couple of crucial wickets, which is really important here, just clawing momentum back. in the direction of Hampshire, who we thought maybe just let a couple of moments get away from them early on in the Sussex innings. However, nonetheless, they've really clawed the pressure back, and all of a sudden Sussex have got a rebuilding task to do. And Sonny Baker, after taking 4 for 20 in his last game against Glamorgan just on Thursday night, is back onto the bowling. And it'll be interesting to see how raw pace gets on this track today.
Sussex is that they do bat very deep today with Finn Hudson-Prentice in the side, Jack Carson in the side as well. So they do bat a little deeper, but Sussex will really feel it's for this middle order now to post them towards a decent defendable total.
Sonny Baker into James Coles, who's pulling over short fine leg, and it's gone away for a 1 bounce 4. James Coles just helping it on its way. It's a good bumper, directed well, however he just leant back and he's just tipped it over that short fine leg fielder for a 1 bounce 4.
Well, that was a class shot, wasn't it, from James Coles? It was short and he just, waited for it and just helped the ball on its way down to fine leg. The fine leg is actually inside the circle, so it's a very safe shot from James Coles, but beautifully executed.
Brilliant shot from James Coles, Sussex leading run scorer for the tournament so far on 200 and now 91 runs. Sonny Baker in again to James Coles, who's pulling it more in front of square this time. It's going out to the deep mid-wicket fielder. It will just be 1 run.
Well, keep it on the running here, because Tom Alsop in particular is very, very quick between the wickets. And I heard you talking in commentary with Kevin about turning the 1s into 2s, and that's something that certainly Tom Alsop will be looking to do. And the next man in John Simpson as well. They're very, very quick between the wickets.
Yeah, and John Simpson's a man I'm really looking forward to see batting today after his 52 not out of 28 balls against Essex just the other day.
Yeah, he batted beautifully, but didn't have anyone to bat with him, unfortunately.
Sonny Baker, after his little skip, starts sprinting in. He bowls and it's pulled into the leg side. They're going to push the first one hard once more. Doesn't look like there'll be 2 this time. But nonetheless, Sussex really trying to put the pressure on the Hampshire players. But Sonny Baker's bowling well here.
It's just difficult to assess the importance of this short boundary for the right-hander. It's on his offside now, but if we have one of those graphs that show where the ball has gone, most of the boundaries have come on that side of the ground. It'll be interesting to see what impact that has when Hampshire come to bat.
Baker in again to Coles. Short again, and it's missed. It's gone through to Toby Albert behind the stumps. Will just be no run. Maybe a bit of variable bounce going on here.
That was quick, wasn't it? I don't think James Coles would be overly pleased with the shot that he played there. To pull the ball away, but it was a quick delivery from Sonny Baker. This really is nervous stuff, isn't it? I mean, both sides know the importance of this game. A win for Hampshire and they're pretty much in the quarterfinals. Defeat for Sussex doesn't mean they're out of it, but they would be reliant on the results elsewhere.
Absolutely. As Baker comes into Coles and it's hit on the pad, they're going to sneak through for 1 leg by, bringing Tom Alsop back on strike for that last ball of the over. The score currently is 119 for 3 with 1 ball left in the 14th over. We're in a bit of a limbo period where 2 new batters are trying to get set. We're coming slightly towards the final stages of the 20 overs here. And we're not really sure whether they're trying to attack or trying to recompose themselves, but at the minute it's a good little rebuild this for Sussex. Baker in again to the crease, bowls, attempted drive, playing a miss, bounces just in front of Albert, but a great over from Sonny Baker.
Really was a good over, wasn't it? A pacey over as well. And James Coles and Tom Alsop having a bit of a natter in the middle of the pitch. 119 for 3. That's the end of the 14th over, so 6 overs to go. Sussex will be expecting, if they could score, what have they got? 6 overs to go. That's 36 deliveries. If they could score 2 a ball, they'll be somewhere around the 200 mark. I mean, I'm sure that's on this really lightning quick outfield. That's what they'll be looking for, but we've now got the wily Liam Dawson coming into the attack, which never makes it easy. Bowling his left arm spin. He's going to be bowling to James Coles, who's 5 not out. He's in and bowls, and Coles, it clips that onto the onside and picks up a single, fielded down at long on by Scott Curry. 1 more to the total. 120 for 3. here on BBC Radio Solent. You may be watching via the Hampshire live stream as well, wherever you're watching or listening from. Hope you're enjoying our commentary on what is the most glorious afternoon. Baking hot down here in Southampton. I was saying to Kevin about this. I came across into the car park, looked at the golf course. I mean, it's like a desert, barely a blade of green grass. I'm sure it is on the greens, but the fairway's absolutely parched. Dawson in, bowls, Alsop down the wicket, clips onto the leg side. They've taken one. Now watch Alsop run here. We'll be looking for the 2. He does come back for the second. The throw comes in, and that's good running by Coles, who was actually running to the danger end. The throw came into the non-striker's end, but that's what Tom Alsop will be doing here. He was very, very quick between the wickets. He goes to 7, and the Sharks to 122 for 3 in the 15th over. Dawson, left arm over the wicket, clipped again by Alsop onto the leg side. This time it will only be a single because Benny Howell in those lime green boots is very quickly in from long on to field. Just a single. I think Hampshire will be reasonably content here to restrict Sussex to 1s and 2s. Sussex will be looking for boundaries. Liam Dawson wants a change in the field. James Cole's now hitting towards that short leg side boundary. Dawson in, bowls, and Coles lofts that down the ground, but it's just a single again, fielded by Curry, who gets in the throw. One more to Coles, who goes to 8. Joins Tom Alsop on 8. Sussex 124 for 3. Just 5 runs off the over so far. Dawson in, bowls, Alsop down the wicket, clipping onto the onside. They've taken 1. They'll look for 2 here, but Benny Howell, that's very good fielding. Liam Dawson claps, and that's where you save runs in T20 cricket, because Tom Alsop was definitely looking for 2, and Howell knew it. Good cricket all round.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant fielding out there, and we're beginning to realise at this point that it's those 1s and 2s which are going to be the real game changer today, and it's which ones as the fielding side you can really cut off, put a bit of pressure on more of those, maybe a chance for a run out later down the line.
3 men guarding that short leg side boundary. Dawson will want to get out of this over without any huge amounts of damage. Dawson in, bowls, wide of the off stump. Coles drills that down the ground, bounces once, fielded by Benny Howell, who gets in the throw. And Liam Dawson showing all his experience there. That's a good over from Dawson, just conceding the 7 runs. At the end of that, Sussex are 126 for 3, with James Coles on 9 and Tom Alsop also on 9.
Expertly done by Liam Dawson. He knows that he's spinning it away from that short leg side boundary, especially to James Coles. Just keeping it really wide outside the off stump, just hiding it towards the longer boundary. And we saw great signs of how Liam Dawson can control the end.
This is interesting now, isn't it, Charlie? Because 5 overs to go. Sussex will think, right, we've got the foundation here. We've got plenty of wickets, but anyone coming in now has got to get on with it straight away. So, do these two think, right, we're the men at the inn. We need to carry this forward for the next, 2 or 3 overs at least.
It's an interesting debate as Curry in again, the number 44. Just spliced out towards point. They sneak through for a single. Scott Curry is the change of bowling from the pavilion end. But yes, it is a really important period in the game. We've got 2 relatively new batters in James Coles and Tom Alsop, but they have now been out there for a few overs now. They're a little bit set, and either they can choose to start going now, or they can realise that they've got to be around come the last couple of overs. But Scott Curry in again, and it's pushed with a cut shot out towards cover for no run. It's a dot.
Good bowling that, wasn't it? He just pushed it wide of Tom Alsop, and Alsop could only play that to short extra cover.
Good bowling to this field. We've got a deep cover point and a deep backward point, or a kind of really wide third man here. We've got a 3 men out on the leg side as well.
It's a good little spell this, isn't it, for Hampshire?
Very good spell. Scott Curry, here he comes. Bowls this time towards the short leg side boundary, but it's caught in the outfield. It looks like it's Joe Weatherly out there. It is. And a short ball from Scott Curry, who looks absolutely fuming for some reason. I think he feels like he should have got a little bit more reward for the way he's bowled today. But Hampshire come together, and it's an important wicket there of Tom Alsop, and wickets are falling in a cluster. Tom Alsop goes as 127 for 4.
Well, absolutely, and this has kind of been the story of Sussex's season a little. 107 for 1 when George Thomas was out. Now 127 for 4, and we're just seeing now, no, those players are coming in. There's the experience of John Simpson. This is absolutely vital now for Sussex. Sussex will have a score in mind, but John Simpson crucial, but there isn't a lot of time now, and this has been good bowling. It's been, I was just looking at the end of the 10th over, Sussex were 92 for 1. We're now in the 16th over, 127 for 4. So it's been a good comeback by Hampshire, because at that stage Sussex would have been having their eyes on, 180, 190. They might still will be, but it's the Hawks have fought back here.
Yeah, Hampshire were just keeping Sussex in check.
Yes, they were, I would agree.
And actually, it's now been a cluster of wickets, and all of a sudden the momentum switched and Hampshire are on top. Here comes Scott Curry to John Simpson, who's hit it up in the air towards Joe Weatherly again. He's running around, it's over him for 6. It's just gone over Joe Weatherly, who was running along the mid-wicket boundary towards long on. He's given it a big leap to try and get there, and John Simpson, first ball, is hit for 6.
Well, he batted beautifully at Chelmsford on Friday night, John Simpson. I just wonder whether John has walked in and think, we need more than this, and I'm not going to hang around. But that's a super shot, and to that short leg side boundary as well, Charlie.
Here comes Scott Curry. This time placed into the offside, rejected single. It's a direct hit, but they're going to come away for overthrows. Tom Press was the fielder who had a little shy at the stumps. He's hit them.
He did.
And it's gone past the fielders in the infield, and they'll get an overthrow, 1 run.
Scott Curry is certainly wound up, isn't he, out there? I was just watching him. When the throw came in, it hit the stumps. He was furious that he'd conceded another run.
You've got to love the passion here from Scott Curry. He's bowled so well in the tournament so far. He's got another over to come after this ball as he bowls. And he's bowled him! Another huge roar from Scott Curry. Middle stump comes flying out the ground. And here comes the Hampshire Hawks charge. It's 134 for 5. The slightly more set batter, James Coles, falls for 10. And Scott Curry takes another wicket. Fury and rage from Scott Curry.
Well bowled, Scott Curry. I'm always very mindful to say when you're up here commentating, and I didn't play cricket at a high level, not like Kevin James, who's with us today. But I don't think that's a great shot by James Coles. John Simpson has come in. He's just hit a 6. James has been out there for a little while now. Whether James feels, well, I need to get on with it as well. But with John Simpson, who's batting so well, I'm not sure that was the greatest shot. Either way, James Coles goes, and Sussex now 5 down. And I just feel there's been an impetus switch here towards Hampshire.
Yeah, and I think it really all came from Hampshire not letting Sussex get away from them in those first 8 overs or so. As you said, 107 for 1 when George Thomas fell, making it 107 for 2. And as we've said, that momentum, those wicket taking, as pressure's built up and they've thought about getting more runs, Hampshire are back in the game. Chris Wood bowls, and it's clipped into the leg side by John Simpson. They're going to look to come back for 2. They come back. Danny Lamb at the non-striker's end, but they get back safely. Danny Lamb is the new batter, everybody. He's coming in at number 7 for Sussex.
Paul Farbrace talks a lot about playing smart cricket. And he says Sussex haven't been smart enough in this competition. At the vital times, they made wrong decisions. Let's see if they can make some good decisions over the next 4 overs.
Wood bowls again. Worked into the leg side by John Simpson. They're going to push for a 2. I'm not sure it's on this time. No, it's definitely not. As the fielder picks up into the keeper's gloves of Toby Albert. What do we think is the total now for Sussex? What do they want to be getting to?
Well, I mean, stupid. I mean, I would say as many as possible, which is a silly answer, really. But I would have thought they're going to be wanting to get. You would know this ground far better than me. But 10 and over from the last 4 overs, gets you around 175, 180. At least they'll feel that's, it gives them a good chance.
Yeah, that'll be the aim for Sussex. As this one's edged fine, beaten the gloves of Toby Albert. It's running away to the boundary for 4. Danny Lamb, off his first ball, gets away with the boundary.
Was that a chance?
I don't think so.
It's a little wide of the keeper, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe just outside the reach of Toby Albert. We'll have a little look on the live feed in a moment's time. But Chris Wood taking the edge of Danny Lamb.
Yeah, not a lot you could do about that. And the third man has gone back, but vital runs for Sussex. And it's 7-0 off the over so far.
Chris Wood, 3 balls left in the over. This one punched out to the offside, no run. Good bit of pressure building from Hampshire. I think that's James Vincent.
It was actually. That was quite interesting. It was a good bit of fielding by James Vincent. He just had a little chat there to John Simpson, 2 very experienced companions, just grinning at each other. I think John knew he was slightly out of his ground. James Vince didn't throw the ball because there was actually no one backing up. Two good old pros.
Chris Wood bowls and it's cut out into the offside. They sneak through for one to the near point fielder. That's Tom Prest who picks it up.
Good recovery this from Wood, isn't it? Because when you've conceded 7 off your first 3 balls, so often the over can then go completely wrong and you use your line and a couple more boundaries and suddenly an over's costing, 14, 15.
Yep, still 1 ball to come though, Adrian.
Yep, still could happen. No,
Chris
totally.
Wood, 23 runs off his 2.5 overs. As this one's pulled fine towards the leg side boundary, but deep square leg will dive and pick it up as they come back for 2. But Chris Wood, as we said, saves it from 7 runs off his first 3 balls. That over just going for 10 in the end, 144 for 5. Here comes Simpson and Danny Lamb to try and set things alight for the last 3 overs.
And you're listening to live cricket here on BBC Radio Solent. Myself, Adrian Harms, alongside Charlie Harden. Kevin James back with us at the end of the next over. In this vital game in the South Group. A win for Hampshire, they're almost certainly through to the quarter-finals. They do have 1 more game to play at Chelmsford against Essex. That game on Thursday. From a Sussex point of view, if they lose here, they could still qualify. They've got 2 games to go, but they'd need to win both and hope for results to go their way in other group matches. In comes Scott Curry to bowl to Danny Lamb, who pulls onto the leg side. They've taken 1, and that's all they'll take. The ball is fielded at backwards square leg. 1 more to the total. Lamb goes to 6. 145 for 5. It is just so tight in this Southern Group. I've got half an eye on the other games which are going on today. Down at Cardiff, Glamorgan, who are in a good position in the group, but they're fielding first. Gloucestershire 151 for 4 in that game in the 18th over. In comes Curry, bowls to Simpson, who tries to make room. He's annoyed with himself, John Simpson. You saw him look there. He was looking to run that one down to 3rd man. Reason being that the 3rd man is up inside the 30-yard circle. John Simpson would have noticed that. And frustrated he didn't get a little nick on that to get a boundary.
Frustration from a man in form, but Scott Curry, brilliantly executed wide Yorker there. John,
Yep.
You get the sense Simpson could have got it away.
Curry races in again, over the wicket, bowls wide of the off stump. Is it going to be signalled a wide? No, it isn't. I reckon that was pretty marginal. John Simpson had slightly stepped away to the leg side again, maybe looking for that, fiddle that one down to 3rd man. So, just the single off the over so far. Yeah, perfect delivery. Very good figures, hasn't he, Scott Curry? 2 for 26 in his 3.5 overs. And he's coming in again, bowling to John Simpson. He's in and bowls short. Simpson pulls onto the leg side, and it's only a single. He doesn't time that. Difficult to tell. He picked, say, just the one. It may be a pitch. It is difficult to time the ball. I mean, Tom Clark didn't seem to have any difficulty,
no.
But Simpson goes to 13. That's 146 for 5. 2 balls remaining in the over. As in comes Curry again. Bowls to Lamb. Lamb pulls that in sort of ungainly style onto the leg side. Nonetheless, he picks up a single. Hampshire will be quite happy at this stage to allow Sussex singles. 147 for 5. Lamb goes to 7. This is an excellent over. Just the 3 singles off it so far.
Yeah, it's been brilliant execution from Scott Curry. 2 wide Yorkers outside the off stump, hiding the ball to John Simpson from that short leg side boundary. It's been great stuff so far.
Last ball of the over. Curry in, bowls to Simpson, who drills that away through the offside. They've taken 1, they'll look for 2, but it isn't there. And again, that's a very fine over by Scott Curry for the 18th over, just to concede those 4 runs. 148 for 5 at the end of the over. Charlie, thanks very much indeed. More from Charlie a little later on. Kevin James is going to come back and join us here on BBC Radio Solent for the final 2 overs of the innings. And I have to say, Kevin, I think Hampshire have fought back really well here, because at the end of the 10th over, Sussex were 92 for 1. So in the next 8 overs, they've scored, 56 runs and lost 4 wickets. So it's been a good response from Hampshire, because Sussex looked almost odds-on to be getting a couple of hundred here.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, it's just been that one partnership, hasn't it? Between, was it Hughes and Clark?
There goes another wicket. John Simpson caught an extra cover. Chris Wood, the bowler. John Simpson, who probably feels that Sussex need to get on with it here, drilling the ball straight to short extra cover. He is on his way. Another wicket goes down. The catch there by the skipper, James Vince. And John Simpson goes for 14. And Sussex, this has been a feature of their campaign, Kevin, just losing wickets at important times. And I thought, yet again today, the middle order rather fell away. They had a good base, but they haven't really built on it.
No, they haven't. It was a partnership of, what, 63?
It was Thomas, wasn't it?
Yes, George Thomas and Tom Clark, yeah.
Which really was the only time that Sussex looked on top. And they just haven't been able to regain the momentum with them both out in the space, well, in the same over, weren't they, in the 13th over to Fuller. And they have never really recovered.
No, and that's been the issue. And Paul Farbrae spoke about this on Friday. He said, we haven't played smart cricket. And a lot of it is smart cricket, isn't it? You know, all of a sudden, you know, knowing when to put the foot to the floor, when to think, well, actually, we just need to get 5 or 6 off of this over and then take the next over. Anyway, in comes Wood to bowl to Nathan McAndrew. He's in and bowls. McAndrew, the tall Australian, drills the ball down the ground. He's running straight down below us. Oh, that's a very good bit of fielding. And Hampshire have got their tails up here. Very good indeed between Benny Howell and Liam Dawson, preventing anything more than a couple of runs. Sussex 150 is up. But
you know, I don't think it needs a particularly big score on this wicket. You know, it's a used wicket, sun-baked.
Yeah.
I mean, Sussex were on for a way above par score initially. I mean, this is not a bad
No,
total.
it's giving them something to bowl at. I just wonder if it's enough. In comes Wood, bowls to McAndrew, who levers that one out through cover point. They've taken one, they'll think about 2. I'm not sure there's a second run there. It's a good bit of fielding. And actually, I think the Hampshire fielding, the ground fielding, has been very good, Kevin.
Yeah, they've really worked hard here. I mean, they know the importance of this game. Obviously, it's important for Sussex as well. They don't want to leave themselves too much to do.
No.
After today, but Hampshire, no, they don't really want to leave it until Essex.
No, and Essex were excellent the other night at Chelmsford.
Yeah, they don't leave it to them.
And from a Sussex point of view, you know, back-to-back games down at Cheltenham on Thursday night, back to face Surrey. Now, you might say, well, Surrey will be through, and will they be bothered? But of course they'll be bothered. They're, you know, professional side, full house at the Oval. That won't be easy. There's so much hanging on this game. I just feel that Hampshire have just leveraged the... Someone got off the field.
Vince.
Yes, now James Vince, we think, has hurt his hand. Just break off for a moment. As in comes Wood. Bowls hammered away onto the leg side by McAndrew. He's going to be caught. Oh, very good. Very, very good indeed. That is the modern professional cricketer, isn't it? That is a brilliant piece of work. Nathan McAndrew pulled the ball onto the leg side. The fielder...
I wouldn't walk off.
Did you think he didn't get it?
I'm not sure.
It was a relay catch. Difficult to say. Nathan McAndrew, quite rightly, is just inquiring as to whether it's out or not. But very, very clever cricket, these relay catches. The 2 fielders immediately went to the edge. Now, the umpires are having a discussion. Sorry, it's Danny Lamb, actually, who's wandering off. My apologies.
He is going.
He is going.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was very clever cricket.
Yeah.
Very clever cricket.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I honestly, it seemed to take a while. I thought, oh, he's fallen over that one. But it's interesting how you try and time the throwback when he was actually almost horizontal.
Yes. Yeah.
And Liam Dawson said it's fine. And Danny Lamb was clear. I think I might have waited. Maybe Danny Lamb waited enough for the umpires to say, no, you've got to go. But yeah.
Let's get over this.
Well, it's not Danny Lamb, it's McAndrew.
Oh, I thought it was Danny Lamb who was
it Danny Lamb? No,
yes, it was. It was Lamb who was out. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. The new man in is Jack Carson, the off spinner. Who may well have a part to play. Well, Sussex need to manage as many as they can for the. Let's just see this again. I think.
Oh, hello.
In comes Wood and bowls, pulled onto the leg side by Carson. They're thinking about the single. They decided not to show out the stumps. Well, actually, it looked like his foot might have been on the rope.
That's why I wouldn't have gone. I wasn't. I mean, I must admit, it was.
But did the umpires? Would the umpires use the club stream for that? I mean, that's.
I don't think they do.
No, well, we had this situation down in Kent. I'll come back to that in a moment. As in comes Wood over the wicket, bowls pulled away onto the leg side by Carson. Picks up a single. The throw comes in, and it's just the single. End of the over. 152 for 7, with 1 over left to go here at the Ageas Bowl. possibly a controversial moment with the dismissal of Danny Lamb. But we had this at Canterbury where it actually went in Sussex's favour, and they looked at the big screen, it was a boundary, and Tamal Mills said on that occasion, well, you can't use the replay off of the stream, you know, are we using it or not? And I think that's probably the situation here, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure we're going to get another replay of that, if I'm honest. As much as
but another good over for Hampshire.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And Sonny Baker will be bowling the last over here with Sussex on 152 for 7. Good fight back so far for Hampshire. They won't want to give it away now in this last over. So Carson it will be to face. Sonny Baker from the pavilion end has 4 deep fielders on the leg side as well as a deep cover. Comes in again. Crowd getting into this over as he bowls, slower bouncer, and it's cut away into the deep, goes out to Weatherly. Well, I think if it was an away game and that had happened, I think Weatherly on the boundary, I think it was the captain, I might have just pulled him in, say, come and field in the covers. Come and field at maybe mid-off after that.
Yeah. Well, certainly on the replay, it did look as if the foot was on the rope, but, you know, you can...
Here's Baker, 153 for 7, 5 balls left of the Sussex innings. He's bowling to Nathan McAndrew, pulls that away in the air. It's going to fall short of deep square leg by one bounce. Nathan McAndrew's playing his 100th T20 game tonight.
Oh, good
this afternoon. I keep so used to evening games. 32 of them for Sussex and 68 for them for Sydney Thunder.
Good cricketer. But look at this Sussex, 92 for 1 at the end of the 10th.
Yeah.
That's where Sussex will feel that they've perhaps not fully capitalised on that start, but yeah, you never know with these pitches how difficult it's going to be for Hampshire. And James Vince off the field.
Yeah, that's a bit of a worry as Baker's in and bowls, cuts it away, short delivery, Weatherly comes in and puts it down. Diving forward, looks like he was there, looks like he had it, just seemed to spill out of his hands. Had to dive forward though at the same time as coming in.
So well, I thought Hampshire had fielded. That was, but again, would have been a good catch. The standard of fielding throughout the competition actually has been outstanding. The standard of the Essex fielding the other night, the catching.
Was it?
Oh, tremendous.
Did it take your breath away, Adrian?
It did. It did. Yeah.
Not much does these days. Must have been unbelievable. 156 for 7 then. Here's Baker from the pavilion end. Bowls and swung away by Carson out into the deep on the leg side. Should only be 1. Good piece of fielding from Tom Prest coming in and picking it up cleanly. And there are 2 balls left at 157 for 7.
You know this ground, Kevin. Is it a score that gives Sussex a chance?
Yeah, it does, yeah. It's about par, 160 here.
Okay.
170 maybe. But yeah, 160 you're in the game, but it's not a win. It's not necessarily a winning score.
No.
But as we keep saying many times, T20 is very unpredictable. If Hampshire don't start particularly well, you just that 160 becomes an awful lot more. Baker's in, short again, pulled away. This could be runs, and
6.
It's gone for 6. Well, that's a good shot, Nathan McAndrew. Another short delivery there from Sonny Baker, and he's really got hold of that one.
Yeah. Well, big long levers, isn't he, Nathan McAndrew? And he could just be useful runs. This is, what's that, 11 off the over?
Yeah. 1 ball left then. Another big strike as well. Sussex will feel that they've actually made the most of the last 2 or 3 overs here. That's a really good strike. He's gone predominantly short here, Sonny Baker. What's he going to do here? Is he going to change tactics? I think, yeah, I guess he thinks with a long boundary side, leg side, that it takes a really good hit, but that last one was a good hit. Baker's in, wide of the crease, he's gone full this time, no ball. They come through for a leg by as well.
So this could be a free, is this a free hit? I thought he gave it a free hit.
Crowd thought it was all over.
This is an expensive over now.
It certainly is, isn't it? It's gone for 11, so it's all right, it's gone for 13 so far.
Yeah.
Well, I always think with these last overs and what have you that a batting side suddenly feeds off that.
Yeah, absolutely, because you go in and suddenly think, actually, we've got another 10 or 12 we wouldn't have thought.
Agreed. 166 for 7. What's going to happen here? McAndrew is at the non-strikers end. Carson to face, swings, gets wrapped on the pad. That'll only be a single. So 164 for 7. Actually, has the score just changed? It's only 12 off that over, actually. Tell a lie. 164 for 7 at the end of 20 overs, leaves McAndrew on 10 not out. Looks like the totals have just changed a fraction. Carson is 5 not out. It looks like they've reset. The scoreboard is showing 164 for 7. The live picture feed is showing 164 for 7, so we're going to go with that.
Well, I think from 92 for 1 after 10, I think Sussex will be disappointed not to have scored more than that. Kevin, on the other hand, they've got a score on the board which puts them in the game. But as I say, I think they'll just feel maybe they've left another 20 or 30 out there.
I think you're right. So 164 for 7 then. The top scorers in the Sussex innings, 39 from Tom Clark from 24 deliveries. And that partnership with George Thomas for the second wicket of 63, by far and away the biggest and the most influential. That's when Sussex were at their best, but lost regular wickets after that. 37 from Thomas at the top of the order from 30 deliveries.
Sorry, Gary, I was just going to say the BBC website showing 167 for 7.
Yeah, there's something. Oh, it's reverted. It's reverted to 167.
Sorry.
So it was showing that initially, and it went back to 164. Now it's gone back to 167. So apologies for all the confusion. We're only reading out what's on about four or five different screens, but they've all reverted back. James Fuller then with 2 overs 3 for 16 did alter the course of the Sussex innings. For a while. There was 2 wickets for Scott Curry and also 2 wickets for Chris Wood. We're all going to take a break, and when we come back we'll bring you the Sussex Hampshire reply, where they need 168 for victory.
Yes, thanks very much indeed. Welcome back to the Utilita Bowl. The second time today I've been introduced as the first person. Maybe I've got the heave-ho from BBC Sussex.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to Hampshire, you never know, Kevin.
Perhaps the transfer's coming, you just haven't seen the notification.
Yes. Well, the window is open, you know. Anyway, welcome back to the Utilita Bowl on the glorious afternoon, if very hot afternoon, as we were hearing, Sussex finishing on 167 for 7. I think, Kevin, Sussex will feel they've maybe left 20 runs out there from where they were, 92 for 1 after 10. I think they'll just be a little disappointed. But then a big last over, which has, got Sussex up to something they might feel they can defend.
No, I think you're right. What was it? 92 off the first 10, 75 off the next 10.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Whether that partnership between Clark and Thomas, worth 63 in 7 overs, was maybe a sort of a flash in the pan, and it's probably not indicative of the game, or whether actually Sussex should have put together at least something else that rivaled that and got them ahead. I think it's a difficult one to call, if I'm honest. It may be that partnership might yet make all the difference come the end of the game. If it isn't, then I think Hampshire should run out winners here. It is a decent total. It is around about par, maybe lower end of par, so it does keep Sussex in the game. And if they bowl well and they have a little bit of luck, and then it will prove a challenging total. But it'd be interesting to see whether James Vince's hand injury, which took him off the field earlier, means he won't open the batting. That might also be a factor in Hampshire's run chase. But I don't know. I think we need to see how one or two of these Hampshire batters to get on to get a clear idea of that total.
Yeah, James Vince, we thought he hurt his hand fielding early on in the innings. I'm just trying to sort of strain my eyes to see whether we can see whether the Hampshire skipper is going to open the batting.
I think he is. I think he's
That's up
shadowing
there.
That looks like him shadowing at the top. Yeah.
Well, let's hope so, because nobody wants to, you want your best players to be, in important matches like this. And this isn't quite winner take all, but as we've said all afternoon, if Hampshire win this game, they've got 1 foot in the quarterfinals, courtesy of the fact they have got a very good run rate with 1 game to go at Chelmsford on Thursday night against Essex. From a Sussex point of view, a win today puts them in a good position with 2 games to go down at Gloucester, actually at Cheltenham against Gloucester on Thursday, and then at home to Surrey on Friday. But defeat here for Sussex is going to make qualification difficult, and it's going to depend on others as well. Bit of a delay actually at the far end.
I'm just wondering why the umpires haven't appeared. In fact, they have. It looks like they're just at the top of the stairs, so I don't know if there's been an issue in the umpires' room at all. Nigel Long and Shurandiran Shanmugam are the 2 umpires, and I've said the latter there. I'll tell you a funny thing the other night at Merchant Taylor's School, and I won't mention the person that was doing the ground announcing, but they said, welcome our 2 umpires, whoever the other one was, and the one I've just mentioned, and they couldn't say it. And they had about 3 or 4 goes at it, and it got worse each time they tried. And the ground, and it was a quiet crowd. You know what it's like, Merchant Taylor's? It's quite a
Joe,
quiet
I've
crowd.
never been there.
No, you're not missing anything. I mean, like here, you can hear the music pumping and you hear the trumpet going at times. That's what T20 is all about. Merchant Taylor's, believe me.
Is it?
It was like a little picnic, pleasant picnic by the water, under the willow tree sort of thing. Very quiet, very, very surreal, really. But when he said that, the whole crowd, there was about 1,000 there, absolutely erupted. It was so funny. It was one of the best moments in the game, actually.
Well, it was a game actually and a win. I think I said earlier on, Kevin, I was following it from a Sussex point of view, thinking, oh, Hampshire might lose here. Not wishing Hampshire to lose, but thinking, oh, maybe they will. And James Fuller clearly got Hampshire over the line. And you just wonder whether Hampshire have got that little bit of momentum. And they'll know here, they think, right, this is it. But Sussex have just shuffled the pack a little bit. They've got the off-spin of Jack Carson, and Carson did bowl really well here in the championship match, and James Vince is going to open the batting.
Yeah, that's good news from a Hampshire point of view, that's for sure. Still without Chris Lynn, who's got this tight hamstring, and you do wonder now, with 1 game left after this, as to whether he'll actually play again in this tournament. I think the feeling was when he injured himself during the Sussex game, during making that half-century, that I think at that point Hampshire had feared the worst and privately was saying, we are a little bit worried here. And but you always think, well, yeah, he'll be all right, give him a few more days, massaging and the physio. But I think those initial fears are bearing out from what we're seeing. It hasn't appeared since then. So happily both teams are out there in the middle. Hampshire need 168 to win. Sussex need to keep them to below that to get back on track and keep their chances of qualifying very much alive.
And it's going to be Finn Hudson-Prentice who's playing his first match for Sussex in the tournament. He's already played for Derbyshire in this tournament, so this is clearly not like the FA Cup where you get cup-tied if you played for another county. It's been a little surprised that Finn hasn't played more in the competition, but he knows the people at Derbyshire and went up there and played some T20 cricket. Batted very nicely down here in the championship match and bowled well as well, so happy memories of the ground. But he's going to open the bowling. No Ollie Robinson for Sussex today. Ollie looked like he was really struggling on Friday night at Chelmsford, took a heavy tumble whilst taking a catch and has been struggling with 1 or 2 injuries. So he's not in the side. A chance for Finn Hudson-Prentice.
Played 4 matches at Derbyshire earlier on in the season, 5 wickets he took in total.
And he's running away from us, coming into bowl 2, straight down the leg side and clipped away for, is that going on for a boundary? A long chase down to that final leg boundary, and straight away Toby Albert is on his way with a boundary. That was a delivery down the leg side and tucked away down towards fine leg, so not the start that Finn Hudson-Prentice would have wanted, but just the start that Hampshire would have wanted in pursuit of this 168 to win. Here on BBC Radio Solent, Adrian Harms, Kevin James and Charlie Harden, your commentary team on a glorious afternoon and a decent crowd as well. Enjoying the sunshine. Hudson-Prentice in again, bowls, punched into the offside. They take a single and it's a well-judged single fielded by Jack Carson at backward point. 1 more to the total, 5 without loss.
Yeah, also on the live picture feed on the Hampshire Cricket website, also going around the ground.
Lovely.
On the in-ground commentary. Yes, Toby Albert, 98 not out against Glamorgan, was so close to getting 100. Just lost the strike in the last over. Oh, it was such a shame. He was on it, he was on for it as well.
But he was not out.
98 not out, right. Yeah, just couldn't quite get the strike.
Hudson-Prentice bowling to Vince, and Vince plays that with one hand. I reckon that was interesting because he's played that into the offside as James Vince, and he's ringing his right hand as he played the shot. He noticeably took his right hand off the bat as he played that to mid-off, so he clearly looks like he's got some sort of an issue, James Vince, and Hampshire will be hoping it's nothing too bad. But he definitely took his hand off the bat there, Kevin.
It is, yeah, we don't want to be going to Essex needing a win, and he's not playing.
6 without loss.
Already playing with 1 overseas player, so that's a bit of a handicap.
Hudson-Prentice in, bowls and Albert steers that down to deep backward point and picks up a single. He goes to 5, the Hawks to 7 without loss. I'm sure, you know, if it was anything really serious, James Vince wouldn't be out there, or maybe he'd have batted down the order. But the fact that he's out there, but he definitely seemed to take his hand off the bat.
This is bottom hand as well, actually, which I suppose if it has to be either one, it's probably the best one to be injured. But you can see him favouring it if you look there. He's all right with the bottom hand, but I'll take it off the bat again.
Hudson-Prentice in bowls, and Vince hammers that away, and that's gone for 6 runs. Well, nothing wrong with that. Sussex have got a fielder down on that deep square leg boundary, and the ball has sailed over the boundary rope, and that's gone all the way for a maximum, I think. Vince goes to 7, and the Hawks 13 without loss.
I don't know whether James Vince is just going to chance his arm here a little bit. Clearly in pain with his bottom hand. I don't know if he's maybe thinking, do you know what, I'm just going to go for it here a little bit.
And he's hitting towards that short leg side boundary as well. Expensive opening over this for Sussex, 13 off of it so far. Hudson-Prentice, final ball, in and bowls, and Vince, again, he takes his hand off the bat and has a wild swing. The ball goes through to wicket-keeper John Simpson, so James Vince is clearly not right, but he's out there batting, and Hampshire have made a good start to their reply. They're 13 without loss.
Yeah, my guess is they've had a chat up there and they've decided that even if he is a little bit injured, that with the fielders, the fielding restrictions, of course, that James Vince out there having a little go up top is probably the best way forward, and it's not a bad plan at all, really. I think, knowing the way James Vince plays T20 cricket and the way he's played this season, I think already we've had some clues in that first over.
Yeah, and I think you're probably right, Kevin, as well, that, you know, Hampshire do not want to be going to Chelmsford on a Thursday night with a full house needing to win.
No. Don't want to be going to Chelmsford anyway. Sorry, everybody in Chelmsford. Here's James Coles with his left arm spinners, and that's pulled away by Albert. Is that going to go for 4? It is. That's a little bit short there from Coles. Allowed Albert to get right back on the stamps and hammer that away through mid-wicket.
Yeah, and they've, sorry, just come back to Essex, you know, against Sussex the other night. They've got Sam Cook back, they've got Snater back in their side, so they've got some players coming back in, so they do look strong at the back end of the competition.
17 without loss after 7 deliveries as Coles is in again. Goes through a reverse sweep there, Albert, and he's found the gap, and that's 4 more. Well, he's riding on a wave of confidence, is the Hampshire opener. After that big innings, as I said a few nights ago, he actually comes into this game with the help of that 98 not out in 8th place in the run scoring charts this year's competition with just over 370. You can make that 385 at the moment. As Coles is in again, Albert drives up towards deep mid-off, and he moves on to 15, comfortably outscoring Vince at the moment.
Do you think, Kevin, you know, you mentioned perhaps the attitude with James Vince here, but do you think Hampshire are thinking this is an opportunity, want to seal this here?
Oh gosh, you don't want to leave it.
You know, they're going to.
Than you have to. No, gosh, no. I mean, you think about every game as a win, but I think in this situation, which would be quite a luxury for Hampshire actually, if they can go to Chelmsford already a quarter-final in the bag. Vince goes over extra cover there. This is exactly why he's gone in anyway, because he is such a good stroke maker that with the fielding restrictions there were always going to be gaps, and he's always going to find them. And that's a great shot over extra cover. Just gave himself some room, got that front foot out the way, got the bat through the line of the ball. 26 without loss. This is dangerous for Sussex with James Vince in this mood. Coles bowls again short, and Vince has hit another one through backward at point. Well, he was on the move there, Vince. I think he went leg side, then offside. I'm not sure which way he went. Bit of dance moves there from Vince.
17 off the over. Yeah. 4 boundaries, and Sussex really under the pump here.
Well, they're racing each other here because Albert's 15 off 6, Vince is 15 off 5, 30 without loss, 11 balls gone. Need 138. This game might be all over in the power play here. Vince works it away on the leg side. He's beaten the fielder. It won't quite go all the way to the rope. They'll run 2. Will Albert go for 3? He's turning. He's running 3, and it's a comfortable 3. 33 without loss, and this has already lifted the crowd with this great start by Hampshire. Brought on really because of James Vince's hand injury, which means he's just going for it.
Well, he certainly is just going for it, and I just wonder whether Hampshire think to themselves, we're at home, this is our opportunity. They need 168 to win, and my word, they're out the starting blocks quickly. And I don't know what the plans are here for Sussex, but they have to get the bigs on. They had to do this at Chelmsford on Friday night, bowl the big bowlers, so the McAndrews and the Millses will need to bowl here now. And indeed it is going to be Nathan McAndrew who's going to come into the Sussex attack. And he's going to be bowling to James Vince, who we know is hampered by some sort of a hand injury. And these two will know each other from cricket in the Big Bash. In comes McAndrew, over the wicket, bowls, and Vince heaves that one on the leg side. It's raced away, that's 4 more. Crumbs. What a power play this is. 13 balls gone, and all of a sudden Hampshire are 37 without loss, and they are racing along.
Well, there's been times this year where Vince has just held back and held back. There was a game here against Somerset where it was a little bit tacky, the wicket, and it wasn't easy to play shots against your Overtons and your Matt Henrys and your another one in there somewhere, I can't remember. But he held back and then
Gregory
played his shots. Gregory, that's one. No, Gregory didn't play that one actually.
Oh,
there's another one. I can't. I think it doesn't matter.
Here comes McAndrew over the wicket, bowls, hammered over. Oh my word, that's gone miles. That's gone absolutely miles. That's onto the concourse. That's over the concourse. What a shot that is from James Ince. He's just put his foot down the wicket and he's just driven the ball high, wide and Hampson over long on for 6 runs. Magnificent. Vince to 28 of 8 deliveries, 43 without loss. What a start.
Beware James Vince with an injury. I mean, it's right in the slot, but even so, you can see what Vince is trying to do. The thing is with James Vince is it's not slogging.
No.
It's just effortless. He makes it look so easy.
Well, the ball disappeared over long on. It went over the rows of seats and landed on the middle of the concourse. Tamal Mills is warming up, but Tamal's got a lot on his plate here. Well, he's hitting towards this short side, James Vince, but make no mistake, that would have been on 6 on most cricket grounds around the world. In comes McAndrew. What happens next? In and bowls short, and Vince this time plays a conventional shot, just tucks the ball away through the covers and picks up a single. Does James Vince. He goes to 29 off of just 9 deliveries. Hampshire here are racing along, 44 without loss in just the 3rd over. Tamal Mills is warming up down below us, and it's going to need something pretty impressive here from the skipper to try and drag Sussex back into this one.
This is a breathtaking start, it really is.
McAndrew wants a change in the field, but to be honest, it is a bit of a problem where to set the field for Sussex at the moment. And there's a decent crowd here at the Aegeus Bowl. Well, not the Aegeus anymore, is it?
No, you'll be kicked out for saying that.
Sorry. In comes McAndrew, bowls, driven into the offside. Good bit of fielding at backward point by Jack Carson, prevents a single, and a welcome dot ball. Utilita Bowl.
Correct. I've seen people marched out of the ground for saying less than that.
Have you?
Oh,
dear,
yeah.
dear, oh dear. Sorry, Hampshire. I'm quite a nice bloke, really. A rare dot ball. Is that the first dot ball of the innings, actually?
I'll have a look, actually.
No, I think Hudson Prentice might have bowled one. A rarity. McAndrew runs away from us. To Toby Albert, he's on 15, he's in and bowls. And Albert smashes that one away through the offside. They've taken 1, and that's all they'll take. A bit of fielding out on that cover boundary.
Last ball of the first over was the last dot.
Albert goes to 16, and Hampshire Hawks are 45 without loss. And we are still only in the 3rd over. Remarkable start from Hampshire.
I shouldn't laugh, should I, really? I wouldn't be particularly happy if Sussex were doing this to Hampshire.
No. But you can only admire the batting. You know, this is a world-class opener in this format of the game, James Vince. In comes McAndrew, bowls, and he smashes that one away through point and picks up a single. No need for Hampshire to go mad here now. They've picked up off of that over 12 runs. Good recovery by Nathan McAndrew, actually, having gone 4-6. Just 2 singles conceded off for the rest of the over. So 3 overs gone here at the Utilita Bowl. And Hampshire are 45 without loss. At the end of the 3rd over, Sussex were 22 without loss.
You clearly want to be back again, don't you, really, here?
I do.
You don't want to receive a letter through the post saying your presence is not welcome.
I don't, no. The lunches are far too good for that, Kevin, to be refused entry again.
If only you were here for the double header, we had breakfast as well.
Yeah, I missed out there, didn't I? We need to get the Sharks down here for a double header next year.
Yeah, well, you need to get into Tier 1 first.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Tamal Mills into the attack, and if ever we needed a big over from the skipper, this is it. Sussex need some wickets here to try and fight their way back into this game.
I've just received an interesting message here as Mills is in. That's turned away by Vince. I can probably shed some light as to why there was a break between the innings.
A longer break than we thought, or?
Yes. Apparently, there was some exchange of words between both teams over the Weatherly catch.
Right. Okay. Right.
So that's the reason for the.
And the umpires were involved in that?
Between the innings.
Right.
The message I've got, it doesn't mention the umpires, but I'm sure they would have been involved as well, yeah, so that's interesting.
Right.
Thank you very much. I won't say who sent me that, but thank you. That's played a miss outside the off stump through to Simpson.
Now, just for our listeners' point of view, it was a catch that was taken on the boundary eventually by Liam Dawson. It was Danny Lamb who pulled the ball onto the leg side. There was one of the relay catches that your listeners will be familiar with. At the time it looked like a good bit of fielding, but on the replay it did look as if Joe Weatherly's foot was on the rope, and that would have meant it would have been a 6.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I must admit, you know, we initially thought it was all right, and then when on the replay it looked, not sure. That's hit into the ground by Albert, and there is no run. Already Tamal Mills has brought a little bit of calming.
Yes, he has.
To the first part of this over. So 47 without loss, Hampshire in the 4th over. 121 needed from here. They've got away to a very fast start, courtesy of both these players. More so Vince, who was a non-striker's end, is 31 not out of just 11. Toby Albert is 16 from 10. I'm actually being told now a little bit that there was perhaps a little bit more than just chat between the affected people. That's a slower ball, good slower ball. Albert trying to reach that one and missed it. I'm trying to paraphrase here. It does sound as though some members of the Sussex contingent were particularly unhappy. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Just giving you some pointers for the end of match interview.
Right, we'll find out possibly more later.
They were, I wouldn't say they were enraged, but they weren't far off. 47 without loss, as Mills just stops in his run-up.
Just looking in which over that happened, Kevin, the Danny Land dismissal. It was in the 18th over, so there were 9 balls remaining when that happened. You know, I guess, you know, that goes for 6, which it would have been given a 6, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Let's hope this game doesn't get within 6 runs or 4 runs, because I think that might cause more problems at the end. Here's Mills again. That's worked away by Albert, especially if Hampshire sort of win it, you know, just right at the last ball, needing a couple or something. I don't know. Let's hope we don't get to that point.
It is interesting, isn't it, though, that the umpires made the decision on the field of play. You probably have to take the fielder's word for it. You know, we've the ability to watch the screen here, but the umpires don't have that ability. Now, they might say, well, Sussex might say, well, you did have the ability to see it, but Sussex had this at Canterbury, I said earlier in the season, when they said, well, you can't use the, you know, so...
Is that right? Sussex said...
Well, no, sorry, just choose the words carefully, actually.
Because this is interesting, isn't it? That's a lovely shot over extra cover, Toby Albert. Has that gone all the way? Oh, it has gone all the way into the crowd. And that's the 50 up in the 4th over for Hampshire.
Wow. Good shot, wasn't it?
Well, that actually, what you say there makes things very interesting.
Well, so what happened in that game was the ball went for a boundary. Let's get my thoughts right here. The umpire signalled a boundary. The batsman ran 2. Sorry, the umpire said it was a 2, but Kent was sort of trying to show the big screen that it had actually gone for a boundary. And I think Tamal politely went to the umpire and said, well, actually, can you really use the replay for that? That seemed to be the gist of what happened. I don't know exactly what was said, but a similar sort of circumstance. In comes McAndrew, bowls to Vince, who's pulled that, to Albert, who's pulled that straight to mid-wicket, and the wicket goes down, and the catch is taken, and Sussex pick up their first wicket of the innings, and it's Toby Albert who's gone for 17, caught by James Coles off the bowling of Nathan McAndrew. So it's all going on here. 54 for 1 in the 5th over.
Yeah, well, I think there's going to be more on that a little later, that's for sure. So look out for the reactions from both camps after the game, which may or may not be particularly vociferous, depending on the result of the game and how tight it is.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I mean, I don't think there's any suggestion, and I wouldn't begin to be told all the facts, of course. But no suggestion that Sussex have asked for a replay. But if they ever did, of course, that would be going against what they said at Kent. But I guess they're probably hoping that Hampshire may just have been a bit more honest at the time. I don't know. It's something that we're going to try and find out.
It is an interesting point, though, isn't it? You know, if you do, you know, we have the benefit of streaming now. Is it something the umpires should be using to make their decisions? So it is available at the ground. Should they be able to consult? They may not have a screen pitch side, but it is an interesting point.
It certainly is.
Anyway, a wicket for Sussex. Who will? Is it me or is it you? Me.
You.
McAndrew comes into bowl to the new batsman, who's Tom Prest, who clips that away on the leg side and picks up a single. So back to the cricket. Hampshire making a good start here. 54 for 1, 55 for 1 now. James Vince is still there. We think he's this finger injury. Well, he has got a finger injury or some sort of a hand injury, there's no question about it, I think. 37, though, he's made off of just 12 deliveries, and he's certainly been putting bat to ball. But Sussex have just fought back a bit here in the last couple of overs. Good over from Mills before that. Before that 6, which was driven over extra cover. As in comes McAndrew. Bowls and cut away by Vince down to deep backward point. Picks up a single, does skipper. He goes to 38 with a total to 56 for 1.
Yeah, they probably earned the right to just have a little quiet moment here, relative in T20, of course, without looking for the big shots all the time. After that fast start.
Explosive start, wasn't it?
Oh gosh, wasn't it just?
McAndrew. Back to his mark. Comes in and Bowls. And down the wicket comes Vince, and he hammers that to Tamal Mills, who does well to stop that on the edge of the 30-yard circle, and there is no run.
Didn't quite get hold of that, fortunately. It's Tom Prest, actually, that one.
Sorry.
But, yeah, that's right.
Just looking at some of the scores elsewhere that may be of interest, you know, certainly for Sussex, if they were to lose here, Glamorgan are in trouble in their game against Gloucestershire. That helps Sussex. Gloucestershire, defending champions, would not be out of it if they won that game, bizarrely, having lost something like their first 5 games. And they play Sussex on Thursday in Cheltenham. McAndrew in bowls, clips onto the leg side by Prest. He goes to 2, and the total to 57 for 1. So relative calm since that early sort of blitz from Hampshire. So it's so tight, the group, it's almost impossible to try and work out who's doing what, where and when, but certainly Glamorgan losing would help Sussex, there's no question about that. McAndrew back to his mark, coming into bowl to the Hampshire skipper James Vince, who's 38 of just 13 deliveries. McAndrew in bowls, and Vince is playing it onto the leg side, and it's gone all the way for 4 runs. That's a misfield. You know, I think that's James Coles, and that's a collector's item. Ball runs away for 4 runs, 4 more to Vince. He goes to 42, and at the end of the 5th over, Hampshire are 61 for 1.
Yeah, still another over to go at the power play as well. It's into the over. Yes, going back to Tom Prest, he's looking for a score. Hasn't quite got going in this year's competition, but he was left out after the first 4 games, then missed the next 6, only just come back in. So hasn't had a lot of opportunity, but this afternoon might be a nice time to get back into form, as things get a little tight now towards the end of this group stage. Danny Lamb with his medium pace.
Yeah, just wonder whether he might bowl quite well on this, Danny Lamb.
He might be the right type of bowler, mightn't he? Comes in and bowls down the leg side. Oh, I thought the umpire wasn't going to signal it for a while. Nigel Long. 62 for 1.
Yes, he bowled very well down at Canterbury. In the last time Sussex won, actually took 5.15, which were career best figures for Danny Lamb. Sussex could do with something like that here now.
He does mix it up a little bit, doesn't he? Tries to bowl some cutters. Vince hits that in the air. Is it going to be caught at deep mid-wicket? Has it carried? Not quite. Fielder went for it. Didn't get there, but he's going to cut it off just before it goes over the rope. And Vince will pick up a couple.
Just see, there's a long way away in the distance. Is that George Thomas out there?
I don't think anybody can blame him for going for it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I think he might have caught his elbow or something. The ground is rock hard at the minute, Kevin, isn't it? It's
just.
Actually, it's Tom Clark, I think, out there.
Yeah, that was a fine effort. I thought at one stage he might get his fingers underneath it, but he did take some pace off the shot, which at least it didn't go for 4.
Well, if it is Tom Clark, and I apologise, I'm just sort of trying to look into the distance. It's a long way away. He's the best fielder in the Sussex side.
65 for 1 at the start of the 6th as Vince drives. It's in the air, but safe through the covers. Danny Lamb just have his hands on his head. I guess momentarily after the ball left the bat, he might have thought it had gone to a fielder. But Vince has found the gap, but he very, very quickly moves on to 46 from just 15 balls. Beware an injured James Vince.
Well, the other thing here as well is that Hampshire are doing wonders for their run rate, which is already very impressive. That even if they were to lose at Chelmsford on Thursday, that their run rate may well be sufficiently good to see them through anyway.
Well, I for one will believe the sigh of relief for the first time for many a year, as Vince just quickly pushes that up to a mid-off and equally quickly moves off in pursuit of a single, and he moves on to 47, 70 for 1. I'm not sure my nerves are really that way anymore after all the years that Hampshire have left it till the last game.
Well, we did say, Kevin, when you came to Hove last Saturday, you know, the feeling was, and you gave out the table before that game, you felt that Hampshire, you know, really needed to win at Hove. And I remember saying during the commentary on that, you know, a defeat for Sussex here isn't terminal at all, but for Hampshire it probably is.
Yeah.
And we were right, weren't we? You know, Hampshire won that game, and I know you lost to Somerset, but since then, 2 wins.
That's right. Lamb's in again from the pavilion end. Bowls to Prest, who works it away on the leg side. Hampshire move on to 71 for 1, Prest on to 6, and from here Hampshire need 97. Well, I think we're still getting our breath back from that opening partnership.
We are.
Which realised 54 in 5 overs. He's Lambs in again. And Vince just quietly plays that out on the offside. Prest accepts the call. Vince moves on to 48. This is the quiet stage of James Vince now, having done a lot of damage early on.
Well, Hampshire will feel from here that this is a game for Hampshire to lose at the moment. 72 for 1 after the power play. Sussex just need to keep battling away here. A couple of wickets can make all the difference.
Here's Lamb again with his right arm medium. Pace it, bowl! Middle stump out to the ground. Press goes. 4-6. And Sussex have picked up the second Hampshire wicket with a score on 72. We're still, in fact now, that's right at the very end of the power play. So Hampshire have lost 2 in the first 6 overs.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, Sussex just need to keep believing here that they can still get something from this game. And Danny Lamb with a fist pump, and just give Sussex, you know, a glimmer of hope. I'm going to make way, and it's going to be Charlie who's going to come in and join Kevin on commentary.
Thanks very much, Adrian. Simon Baker has emailed hampshirecricket@bbc.co.uk talking about the 6 and the disputed whether it was a catch or not. So he says, if you want to score 6 and not lose your wicket to a dubious catch, hit the ball a bit harder. It's very simplistic. Thank you very much. And Elaine Grist has also emailed hampshirecricket@bbc.co.uk. She says, we have 2 birthday boys on our pitch, on our patch, I guess, facing the balcony. Dave, who's the hubby yesterday, and Sam today. Well, awesome weather too. Hugs to all from the lady with a broken arm. Oh, broken wing, she says, but in brackets arm. Shout outs to Steve Clark, setting the members in too, says Elaine. Happy to mention that. Welcome back, Charlie.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's been an incredibly strong start this for Hampshire, mainly due to the brilliant 48 off 17 from James Vince, but after a couple of wickets here, Toby Albert falling for 17 and now pressed for 6, is there potential signs for a Sussex comeback as James Coles bowls into James Vince, who cuts it out to deep cover for 1 run. The new man is Joe Weatherly, who's now on strike, 73 for 2. Coles' first over going for just 20 after we thought maybe spin could play a good role in this game, but not quite how Coles wanted to start his innings in the bowling side. So Joe Weatherly, a bit of controversy for him in the first innings as he caught a ball and threw it back into Liam Dawson, but replays have shown that his foot was over the boundary as he took the catch. As Weatherly faces up his first ball, clips straight to deep mid-wicket. I wonder if there's a few words out there between the Sussex teammates and Joe Weatherly. As we heard, there's a little bit of confrontation going on at the minute. Weatherly cutting away backward a point straight to the field and no run.
Yeah, this is where you have to show character as a professional sports person, because they will be chirping him out there, that's for sure. You just need to block it out somehow and just play your own game.
Yeah. And Weatherly's been a crucial player for Hampshire this tournament, 3rd highest run scorer for Hampshire, as this is cut into the offside. Another dot ball. James Coles just asserting a bit of pressure back on the Hampshire batters here. As we know from all 3 innings that have been played in the double-header today for Hampshire, Hampshire women against the Bears this morning and Hampshire versus Sussex as we speak. Another dot ball from James Coles. What we've seen is when wickets have fallen, a lot have fallen with them, and we've seen several collapses go on today so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more wickets lost here today in this cluster as Joe Weatherly faces another dot ball. A brilliant over from James Coles after his first one went for 20. His second over goes for just 1, and after 7 overs, Hampshire are 73 for 2.
And at this stage, Sussex had 60 for 1, so that fast start has got Hampshire in front. Christopher Kimber, hampshirecricket@bbc.co.uk, he says, unfortunately we can't be there today. We're on our way back from the World Superbikes at Donington, and they're listening to us on the M1. Come on, you hogs. That's Chris and Andy heading back to Wiltshire. So hope you're enjoying the commentary. Hope you're enjoying the. Well, this could be a really good game. This is a good game already. And if you're just joining us, or just to remind you, we had an extended break between the innings because of Sussex contingent not happy with the situation with a claimed catch by Weatherly on the boundary. Apparently there was a lot of words exchanged. As forward is Vince, gets an outside edge. Start of a new over from off-spinner Carson. And that's Vince's 50. And that has come off just 19 balls, despite being becalmed over the last few deliveries. 5 4s and 3 6s. And for James Vince, that is the 4th time that he has passed 50 this season. 74 for 2. Carson from the pavilion end comes in and bowls to Weatherly, who's made a quiet start so far. The slog sweep on the leg side is being brought out. Ball rolls along the ground out into the deep, and Weatherly is off the mark. 75 for 2.
Very much a signature shot that from Joe Weatherly. That slog sweep, just going for 1 run there.
Yeah, if in doubt, play your favoured shot. Quicker ball. Vince just plays it back to the bowler. Yeah, Vince is in mode 2 here. I think he probably feels that he's done a lot to get the innings off to a decent start. Now he's here to see it through. That's what it feels like from here anyway. 50 off 20 now he is. Carson bowls. Vince just turns that away on the leg side. Runs the first one quickly. I don't think he'll get any more than 1 though. No, he says no. Fielder out there in the deep was in like lightning. That, who was that? That was there a substitute fielder out there? Or was that Clark? Oh, it's Tom Clark, isn't it? Tell you what. Sorry, you were going to say, Charlie.
No, it's all right. I'll come on to it on the next ball.
Carson again in, bowls to Weatherly this time. Again works it on the leg side, but behind square this time. Again, it'll only be a single. 77 for 2. Last ball of the 8th over coming up.
We saw a rather similar situation, didn't we, in the women's game? Not quite at this rate, but we had Elise Perry on 50-odd while wickets fell around her, and you felt it just heaped the pressure on Elise Perry, who then got herself out going for an extra boundary as the rate built up. So maybe we could see a similar situation here.
Again, there's a single on the leg side, and again Vince is running the first one quickly because he's split the field. He's coming back for 2. Throws coming in. Vince will be home. It was a bit tight, but I always felt he was just had enough in the tank. As 2 runs finish off the last over, and Hampshire are 79 for 2. Peter Groves has emailed hampshirecricket@bbc.co.uk going back to that incident. I think obviously a few people at the far end of the ground might have been witness in some shape or form. He says it was a lively discussion between both sides. I think it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to do an after-match interview here and find out what actually went on. If indeed somebody will tell me, because you never know sometimes with these situations.
Brilliantly put that. Lively discussion. That could mean anything. As Tymal Mills, a good first over, went for 2 off the first 5 balls, but a 6 from Toby Albert turned that into 8. But here he comes into Joe Weatherly, who pulls out into the leg side. A fielder out there's interested. It's just gone over his head. And how Sussex would have loved that wicket of Joe Weatherly after the controversy in the first innings, but it's a good shot nonetheless, out towards the short boundary. And I think Joe Weatherly might have taken a hint that that one was coming at his body, and he took it on and pulled it over deep square leg for a magnificent 6. Great shot.
Just watching that again on the replay. Oh gosh, just outside the clutches of the fielders. There's always a worry there until you see the ball actually go over the rope.
Tymal Mills in again, bowling to Joe Weatherly, short again, pulled out into the leg side, and he split the gap this time. This one will be 4. Took a couple of bounces before hitting into the boundary rope, and Joe Weatherly is taking on the short bowling of Tymal Mills with absolute class. The score is now 89 for 2, and Weatherly moves on to 12 off 9.
Well, Weatherly's taken a little while to get going, but he's now found the middle of the bat.
Joe Weatherly playing a crucial role alongside James Vince here, who's 53 off 22 at the other end. But Tymal Mills 10 off the first 2 of his over as he bowls, and it's dabbed into the offside for no run.
Still 79 needed. I've enjoyed this innings as much because of the fast start Hampshire made. The crowd really got into it very quickly, didn't they? Really, they were absolutely enthused by what they saw, which you then know will sort of hold their attention throughout this run chase, because you know, it's coming down all the time. 79 needed, 11.5 overs remain. They only need 7 and over here, Hampshire, which isn't big.
Mills into Weatherly, defending it straight back to the bowl. It's been a good reply this from Tymal Mills. 2 dots straight after the 10 off those first 2. But a little change in the fielding here as Mills sends out a long on and brings up third man. Maybe a little bit of mind games, but every single man is out on the leg side. Plus a deep cover as well. It's a ring field on the offside, but very defensive on the leg side as Tymal Mills is bowling left arm over the wicket, pushing it across Joe Weatherly. Bowls. And it's an attempted drive, it's a play and a miss. 3 dots in a row for Tymal Mills, and Joe Weatherly, despite finding the middle of the bat on a couple of occasions, hasn't really been able to rotate the strike as much. This is 8th dot of his innings.
Slightly slower ball maybe from Mills, just seemed to deceive Weatherly somewhat.
Quite possibly so. 89 for 2 with 1 ball left in the 9th over. Tymal Mills. It's been an excellent reply after 2 pull shots for 10. But here he comes into Joe Weatherly, and it's clipped into the leg side. They're going to push the first one hard, but it will just be 1. 11 runs from it with 3 dots. 90 for 2 Hampshire off just 9 overs. They're going at a run rate of 10, and they need 7 and over to reach the target of 168.
And Sussex at this stage, after 9 overs, were 74 for 1. Still in that middle of that George Thomas-Tom Clark partnership, which was worth 63 of just 7 overs, which really got the Sussex innings going, and you thought Sussex were on for a huge score. It's still a decent total, 167 for 7, but it could have been a lot more. So here's Carson with his off spin. First over went for 6. He's bowling from the pavilion end. Weatherly goes big down the ground. And is it big enough? Yes, it's gone maximum. Weatherly hammering through the line of the ball there, straight up towards the players' dressing room. And Weatherly moves on to 19, and Hampshire on to 96 for 2. It's right in the slot as well, watching the replay there, and it's cleared the rope by some distance. Weatherly goes for the slog sweep on the leg side. It's in the air. The fielder's coming round, but he won't get there. He's going for 6 more. 100 up for Hampshire in the 10th over, courtesy of 2 maximums in 2 deliveries for Joe Weatherly, who I'm sure is probably a little bit wound up out there after the situation in the first innings. Sometimes that can work in a player's favour. We'd have to say, after what we've seen for the last 2 balls, it's working in Weatherly's favour. 25 from 15 he is. As Carlson bowls again, it's worked up towards deep mid-on along the ground. Weatherly clearly happy with what he's done so far off this over, doesn't need to do too much more. And Hampshire on to 103 for 2, needs 65.
It's a lovely start to the over, isn't it? You're on strike, 6-6-1. Go and consider the non-strikers, and he'll be incredibly happy about his work. But he's continuing in his fine form from the T20 Blast so far. 280 runs at an average of 35 before this game.
He's been very consistent again, Joe Weatherly. Vince drives through extra cover. Fielder out at cover will pick it up. Just a single. They wanted 2, but there was never 2 there. And Hampshire move on to 104 for 2.
I'm getting flashbacks to Hampshire versus Somerset a week ago, where Weatherly and Vince combined for a partnership of 141. Vince took 82 that day.
Wow. Carson again, whether he's on the back foot, ball just follows him a fraction. May just have spun a fraction into the right-hander. 1 ball left of the 10th over, 1 ball away from Hampshire being halfway through their innings. And for Sussex, the first half of their innings was better than their second half. Whether he drives, doesn't time it, gets it past the bowler though, up towards mid-on. And Hampshire at the halfway stage here, 105 for 2, with Weatherly on 27 and Vince on 54.
63 or 60 now needed. And after having a look at the women's game, we got to a similar position. Hampshire are on top at the halfway stage, but a few quick wickets actually took the game away from Hampshire. And what we've seen in both games so far today is a team can be incredibly on top at the halfway stage, but a few quick wickets completely changes the game. And it's why this innings from Joe Weatherly's been so crucial. They haven't lost wickets in a cluster, and Weatherly has kept putting the pressure on Sussex. Good batting.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. 2 wickets in the space of an over with Albert and Prest.
James Coles. This one sweeping straight up in the air. Is it going to fall in the gap? It will. It was a top edge from Joe Weatherly, who tried to sweep it over mid-wicket, but it ended up skewing out towards mid-off and it landed in some space. He's not Sussex's biggest fan at the minute today, that's for sure.
I can think of a few golfers with sandwiches who would have been happy with that.
Vince facing up to Coles, cut away. It's got through the gap between backward point and third man, and it will run away for 4. So often those two fielders in those positions are designed so that no ball can fit through that gap. But that one was just spinning away from backward point, and it's fit through the gap perfectly. Well timed from James Vince. 110 for 2.
Yeah, just a quicker ball. Vince just using the pace.
James Coles, again, 5 off the first 2 balls. He had a brilliant last over, going for just 1. But here he comes, left arm round the wicket. Vince will just push it out to the deep man at cover. They're going to come back for 2, I think. Yeah, they are. It's going to be tight, but John Simpson has to come and collect it, and it will be 2 runs.
He was so confident getting 2 there, Vince, he turned blind.
He turned on the wrong hand, didn't he?
Which is not recommended, but he was so confident.
112 for 2. Vince facing up again. James Coles 0 for 28 off his 2.3. Punching out towards long off is James Vince. Walks the first half, then realises he's just got to hurry up a little bit and gets in at the non-striker's end.
Wow. Well, it's effectively a run of ball here for Hampshire, which normally in T20 land is not too difficult, but a wicket or 2 will change things.
Coles in, that's wide outside the off stump. Not what Sussex need at this moment in time. You talk about we've still got batting to come. Hilton Cartwright just hit his best score of the tournament on Thursday against Glamorgan. He hit 48. As Coles comes in, a slog sweep attempt is going out towards long off, and it's gone all the way for 6. Joe Weatherly is hitting slog sweeps down the ground now. It's almost like a lofted off drive, but with a horizontal bat face. Brilliant shot from Joe Weatherly. And that takes the score to 120 for 2. As Coles bowls in again, and it's cut towards short third man, this time fielded. And Joe Weatherly gets through for 1 after hitting his 4th 6 of the innings. And he gets through to 35, 121 for 2.
Right, David Boyle has emailed hampshirecricket@bbc.co.uk, and he said you seem to be looking for a little more detail on the lively discussion at the break. I did have some detail, if I'm honest, but I just have to be a little bit careful, because if somebody's telling me something and it's not 100% right, then I've got to be a little bit careful. But this account tallies with what I was told, and apparently so David says, my son is at the pavilion end, just behind the players' benches, and he told me that when the players came off, Paul Farbrace, the Sussex head coach, had a real go at Joe Weatherly, after which Farbrace and Liam Dawson exchanged some not too pleasant words with one another. So that account goes with my account that I was handed, so I think we can say that that's basically what's been happening.
How exciting. Little bit of drama.
Exciting, but is it my over or yours? Because I can't remember now. It's Danny Lamb back in, and there's a little dab sweep that's gone fine. It won't go for more than 2 though. And Weatherly takes his total on to 37 from just 22 balls, and from here Hampshire need 45 to win. That's the 50 partnership between Vince and Weatherly, and that's come off 31 deliveries.
37 of them coming the way of Joe Weatherly. His ball striking's been astronomical, despite taking quite a few dot balls so far in his innings.
Danny Lamb in, 123 for 2 in the 12th over here, as Weatherly cuts that away, hasn't timed it. Well, I thought it had been fielded at backward a point, but it somehow slipped through the fielder's lunge. And Hampshire move on to 124 for 2, need 44.
So Danny Lamb bowling now. He's playing in his 75th T20. And he's got 5 wickets in the blast in 6 games, all 5 coming against Kent with his career best of 5 for 15.
Happy for you to get those stats out, because I know you've been working hard on them between the games. Playing a missing outside the off stump there, James Vince. Sure, that might just about be the first one, certainly no more than 2. So Vince is 61 from 27. Weatherly 38 from 23. These two came together at 72 for 2 when Tom Prest was out in the 6th. In comes Lamb with his medium paces, bowls from the pavilion end, tucked away by Vince. Should be 2 down to fine leg. The fielder is very square, and that will be picked up by, is that Harrison Ward down here? Might be. One's 26 for 2. It doesn't matter. It's 2 runs.
I'm just struggling to compute this here, Kevin, because of the 50 partnership, Joe Weatherly's got 38, and James Vince is on the other end, striking at 234, and he only got 12 of the 50 partnership.
Wasn't it? Vince drives up towards deep mid-off. It'll be a jogged-through single. 127 for 2. Well, we've had 2 stages of James Vince today, haven't we? We've had James Vince in the power play, and absolutely mullered it, but in a rather pleasant way. And then James Vince after the power play, that said to himself, well, I've done more than enough here to win the game. Now I will make sure that with the help of 1 or 2 others, we'll win the game. They haven't yet. There's still a bit to do. 41 needed. There'll be 8 overs to go after this delivery as Weatherly just helps it away on the leg side from outside off stump. And that is the end of the over. So Weatherly will keep the strike. And Hampshire are 128 for 2. Charlie Harden will stay on. And he will be joined by Adrian Harms, who's gathering information all the time when he talks to the Sussex camp at the end of the game. It's one of those games that actually we love doing our after-match interviews, but I have to say I'm probably relishing it a little bit more than I normally do. Adrian.
Thanks, Kevin. So, can Sussex pull this one out of the fire? Tamal Mills is going to bowl the next over from the hotel end of the ground. As I say, just trying to have a look around on sort of comments. Kevin's been talking about the incident with the catch taken by Liam Dawson to Smith's Danny Lamb, which is obviously going to be a talking point after the game. But let's concentrate on the cricketers. In comes Tamal Mills, bowls, hammered away through the offside. That's a nice looking shot. Just picks up a single, does Weatherly. He goes to 40, 129 for 2. From a Sussex point of view, just to bring some cheer, Glamorgan looked like they could well lose to Gloucestershire. Now that's good news for Sussex. And I think if that still very much keeps Sussex in the competition, they'd still need to win their last 2 games, but it's not all over, Sussex supporters, if Glamorgan lose today. So keep the faith, and I'm sure we'll find out a little more about that incident after the game, if indeed people want to talk about it. It might be one of those that people would rather not speak. We shall see. In comes Mills, over the wicket, bowls. Vince plays that down the ground. They picks up 1 as Jack Carson comes in as aggressively as ever. He's a good fielder as Jack Carson gets in the throw. 1 more to the total, 130 for 2. I guess the question is, as the fielder, did Joe Weatherly know that his foot was on the rope? Quite possibly not. I mean, if you're looking at the ball, you may not know where your feet are. Should Liam Dawson have seen it? Who knows? I guess that's the question, really. And I guess then the question that goes on from that will be, should the umpires have used the stream at the ground to make the decision? Well, you know, I'm not sure where we all sit on that one. Anyway, in comes Mills, bowls, and forward comes Weatherly, plays onto the onside, down to long on, picks up a single, and there is no run. But putting all of that to one side, and clearly it's created an undercurrent to the game. But you know, Hampshire have got away with their business very well here, and it's Hampshire's game to lose.
It really is, but I think it's interesting. Sometimes there's a lot of controversy over whether the ball carried. However, as a fielder, you always know inside whether the ball's actually carried or not. However, when you're trying to save it from going for 6, there's always part of your brain which thinks that you've kept it in. It's one of those ones.
Just something to add on that in a minute, as in comes Mills. Over the wicket and bowls, and through to the keeper. There is no run. Tamal Mills claims a catch behind, which isn't given. Vince remains unbeaten on 65. One post I saw was saying, well, if the umpires were in any doubt, then in cricket the batter gets the benefit of the doubt. So if there was any doubt in the umpire's mind, then the decision should have been not out, and Danny Lamb would have then hit a 6, and who knows, with another 9 balls to go, maybe that would have resulted in something. As it was, Sussex had a very good last over, so we'll never know whether they would have got more runs, would it have made any difference. Here comes Tamal Mills, racing in and bowls, and that's a very good stop, an excellent stop. But sort of short third man. I think that's George Thomas. He's a long way away in the distance there. But again, it's a dot ball. 131 for 2. Hampshire just needing another 37 to win. Got plenty of overs left. 37 in 43 balls. But it was that early onslaught, wasn't it, from James Vince that really has made life very difficult here for Sussex. Tamal Mills. That runs away from us. He's in and bowls, and looking to pull away onto the leg side. The ball goes through to keeper John Simpson, and that's a good over from Tamal Mills, just conceding the 3 runs. James Vince looks irritated he didn't hit that one away towards the boundary, but 131 for 2 at the end of the 13th over, with Hampshire needing another 37 to win.
It's interesting because Sussex, you can't deny, had a pretty good start too. They were 107 for 1 off 12 overs. They were in a good position.
Yes, they were.
Hampshire obviously in a slightly better position here at 131 for 2 off their 13 overs. However, where Sussex lost it was losing those wickets in quick succession and not much force coming from the middle order. And this has been a real sign of Joe Weatherly's innings, which has been, despite a quick couple of wickets of Toby Albert and Tom Prest, what Joe Weatherly's been able to do is really put the pressure straight back on the Sussex bowlers. And he's currently 41 off 26, which is, in hindsight, exactly what Sussex needed from their number 4 or number 5. Someone in the middle order had to arrest the game back.
Yes, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I think Sussex lost wicket at important stages, and Paul Farbrace has spoken a lot about playing smart cricket, and again, Sussex rather lost their way in those middle overs. Hudson Prentice.
Hudson Prentice will take over from the bowling. Joe Weatherly this time pulling it out to deep backwards square leg. This will be 1 run. All Hampshire need to do now, they've set the base, they've done all the hard work, and actually they've just got to play risk-free cricket and take it to the end.
Yes, they have. And Sussex just need to believe that if they could get a couple of wickets, that, you know, these games can change very quickly. But I think Hampshire from here will feel that this is a game they really shouldn't lose.
Hudson Prentice. And again, this time to James Vince, who's cutting it. It's a brilliant piece of fielding at extra cover, which stops a instant boundary for sure. That's brilliant fielding there.
I think it's Nathan McAndrew in there, big Australian. Got those.
Your top wicket taker.
Yes, and he's been excellent, Nathan McAndrew, throughout the campaign. But it's just the Sussex batting which, you know, at Chelmsford let them down. And here today, you know, another 20 runs, this might have been very interesting.
Hudson Prentice in again, this time clipping into the leg side as Joe Weatherly moves on to 43 with that single. Hudson Prentice made his first game for Sussex in the T20 Blast a few days ago, but this is his first time bowling for Sussex. Didn't get around to bowling last game. But he's 0 for 16 off 1.3, just 3 off the over so far. 3 balls completed.
I don't think he started a game for Sussex this season. He played some matches for Derbyshire in the competition.
Yeah, as Hudson Prentice bowls, and it's wide outside the off stump, but it's given as a dot ball to play and a miss.
Yeah,
James Vince looks pretty fuming about that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought that was a perfectly legitimate ball from Hudson Prentice. It rather bloomed over. It was a good delivery from Hudson Prentice.
Looked like a slightly slower ball, which just kind of looped up,
yes,
as you say. And it was a little bit high, a little bit wide, but probably just on the barrier. Good delivery. James Vince is notably a little bit irritated as Hudson Prentice comes into bowl, and it's this one's cut down towards third man. It's a brilliant diving stop from short third man in the ring, which limits it just to a single.
Yeah, Daniel Hughes down there, down to his right-hand side, the Australian. Well, Sussex haven't given up here. That's, you know, it's good to see. They, as you shouldn't, you know. Tamal Mills claps his hands.
I think rightfully so. I mean, you could just argue maybe Hampshire just got a little bit too far away from
yes, they did. I mean,
power play.
yeah. I mean, it's a tall order, but you just have to believe that something can happen.
Hudson Prentice in again. Joe Weatherly pulling it out to deep mid-wicket, who's taken. That could be a big wicket here for Sussex.
Tom Clark with the catch.
Tom Clark has taken it. Finn Hudson Prentice taking his first wicket for Sussex, in the T20 Blast this year. But Joe Weatherly falling for... No, sorry, James Vince it was. No.
Well, it's showing Vince, but it's Weatherly who's walking off.
Very confusing. Joe Weatherly is out. Vince is showing up as out on the big screen. However, I can confirm it is Joe Weatherly falling for 43. Leaving Hampshire 134 for 3. Hilton Cartwright's got a bit of a job to do, just to bat alongside James Vince. And as we said, it's important now that we don't lose wickets in a cluster.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, as I say, it's a game that Hampshire have dominated, but Sussex just need to believe here that, you know, maybe one can lead to 2. You know, it seems highly unlikely, but only what, 4 runs coming off of that over? A wicket goes down, is that right? Yeah, we've got 6 overs to go.
Hilton Cartwright made his top score of 48 on Thursday against Glamorgan for Hampshire in this year's T20 Blast.
Well, I'm sure that James Vince is saying, come on, we can't throw this one away. But another couple of wickets might make it interesting. But Hampshire, you know, heavy favourites here. But Sussex, to their credit, haven't thrown in the towel. Clearly, the big talking point will be the catch of Dally Lamb. But let's hope that doesn't sort of overshadow things too much. What can Nathan McAndrew do? He's running in from the hotel end of the ground, bowled his 3rd over. He's in and bowls and driven away by a good shot. That's 4 runs from James Vince. Too much width and really belted away through backward point by James Vince. It's been an imperious innings by Vince, 71 of 37 deliveries, and bear in mind we think he is suffering from some kind of a hand injury that is sustained fielding, and the skipper is leading from the front. 139 for 3, 29 needed from 35 balls.
It's James Vince's 450 of the campaign today, and he's gone past Toby Albert as Hampshire's leading run scorer for the Blast.
What a fine player he is. McAndrew in bowls, and Vince is at it again, and more runs here as a single. He just plays the ball through the covers and picks up a single on this occasion. James Vince goes to 72, 140 for 3. 28 needed to win, is that right? Yes, 28 off 34 balls with 7 wickets in hand. James Vince just comes down and has a word to Hilton Cartwright, who came in as one of the replacements, because I know that they've had a bit of a revolving door, haven't they, Hampshire, with overseas players, the 2 South Africans going back. Hilton Cartwright, who spent some time at Middlesex and played in the T20 Blast. Now Sussex have brought 5 men inside the circle. They're trying to prevent the single here, so good captaincy by Mills, trying everything that he can as in comes McAndrew. Bowls to Cartwright, who places firmly through the offside and picks up a single to the sweeper on the cover boundary. They think about 2. There isn't a second run there. Certainly not to Tom Clark, who's a very fine fielder for Sussex. But it's a single to Cartwright. Total goes to 141 for 3. And Nathan McAndrew wanders back to his mark. Brings James Vince back on strike. Magnificent innings from Vince. I mean, he's set off like a train, hasn't he? And since then, he's pushed the ball around and done what's necessary to be done. McAndrew in bowls, and Vince plays this one. Beautiful placement through backward point. More runs here. Is he going to go for a boundary? Well, it was very nearly an excellent stop out on that cover boundary. A diving effort from Clark. Can't prevent it going for 4. Beautiful shot by Vince. I mean, it was just beautifully timed. Caressed the ball through backward point. Lovely shot. He goes to 76. And Hampshire to 145 for 3.
Yeah, he's done what no one else has done today, which is he got off to a blistering start. Others have got off to decent starts as well today. However, what he's done is he's reined it in, and he's realised his job for the team is to be out there at the end. And what he's doing is brilliant, just placing the ball perfectly.
McAndrew in again, bowls short, and Vince pulls that onto the leg side. Is that going to be another boundary? Yes, it is. There's 2 fielders on that leg side, and James Vince bisected them right between the pair, and this is an expensive over. An over that's cost 14 runs from Nathan McAndrew. And James Vince is leading Hampshire to victory here. 80 not out off of 40 deliveries. And only 19 runs needed now for Hampshire to win. And looks like they're going to do it with plenty of time remaining. In comes McAndrew. Bowls, and Vince drives down the ground and picks up a single. Down to long off, fielded down below us by Hudson Prentice. 1 more to the total, 150 up for Hampshire. And James Vince carries on his merry way. What a wonderful innings it's been. 18 needed to win, 150 for 3, 15 overs gone. I feel like maybe I should hand over the commentary to Kevin, maybe, for the last knockings here, do you think, or should we? I'm just wondering whether I should bring you in onto commentary, because this looks like it's going to be a Hampshire win. No, he's a good lad, Kevin. Okay, so we're going to see Jamal Mills back into the attack for Sussex, but that over has probably extinguished any thoughts that Sussex might have had of a late comeback here.
Yeah, absolutely. James Vince showing his divine class as he moves on to 81. Just one run off of his high score for the tournament. He made 82 against Somerset just a week ago today. But Danny Lamb is back into the bowling. To bowl to James Vince with the keeper up to the stumps. Vince pushing it into the offside. He'll be happy just to take one, as Hampshire require 17 to win off the next 29 balls to win El Clasic host.
Yes, and it will be the double for Hampshire over their rivals down the south coast. But not necessarily terminal for Sussex, although it would be a 5 defeat in 6. I think the Glamorgan result means that Sussex are still in with a shout in this competition.
Definitely so. It's Danny Lamb into Hilton Cartwright. He's working it away into the offside for no run.
What it will mean with Gloucestershire beating Glamorgan, if that happens, and it looks very likely, is that Gloucestershire are not out of it either. And Sussex go to Cheltenham on Thursday, so there's still lots of if, buts and maybes around who's going to join Somerset, Surrey. It looks like Hampshire and another in the quarterfinals.
Danny Lamb in again to Hilton Cartwright, this time pushing more confidently out to deep cover. They'll push the first one hard, but they'll settle with just the single. 1-5-2 for 3.
And actually, this is the craziness of this group, is that Gloucestershire started the day in 8th place, Middlesex in 7th. I think a Middlesex win at Kent, and they wouldn't be out of it either. So it really is nobody wants this 4th spot.
It's so brilliant when tournaments like this come right down to the wire, with so many teams still in it. As Danny Lamb comes into James Vince, who sets up to hit it over the leg side, but it will go along the floor out to deep mid wicket just for the one run. But James Vince's tempo of this innings has been absolute perfection, sorry. As he started, came out the blocks so fast and aggressive, hit some huge sixes out onto the concourse, but now he sits on 83 off 43, and it feels like it's been tame for the last few overs as Danny Lamb comes into Hilton Cartwright. He's played it on, it's bowled, and once more a stump goes out of the ground. As Kevin James said earlier, they must have put some water into the stump wells, because all stumps are just flying out of the ground at the minute. But nonetheless, it's a crucial wicket. Danny Lamb takes the wicket of Hilton Cartwright, who falls for just 2, leaving James Vince still there on 83.
Well, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? I'm sure the Sussex feeling, another couple of another 20 runs, and we don't want to continually talk about the catch that wasn't, but what difference might that have made? Had that gone for 6, would it have made a big difference? Well, yes, Sussex would have had 6 more runs. Would they have still got as many runs as they did off the last over? Who knows? I tend to agree with you, Charlie, that I think that Sussex, when they look back at this game, which it looks like they're going to lose, barring something dramatic happening, I think they'll look back at that, at losing those wickets in the middle order from where they were, going along so nicely. And what were they? 107 for 1. And in the 107 for 1 to 134 for 5.
Yeah.
It's probably where the game was lost.
Yeah, and you can't deny Sussex players got starts. James Coles fell for 10, Allsop for 9, Simpson for 14. As Danny Lamb's run up is halted by the umpire. But a lot of middle order batsmen just coming in, couldn't quite get the pace of the wicket, found it hard to time. The pressure built up and their wickets were given away. And as we said, wickets fell at crucial points and in quick succession as Danny Lamb bowls into James Fuller. He pushes out into the offside for no run.
Well, he's done a decent job here, Danny Lamb, but I suspect it's probably not going to be enough. I see Jofra Archer in the wickets in the Test match. Well, picked up a wicket. India needing 163 more runs to win, as we get a bit of Neil Diamond around the Utilita Bowl. And we have to say, putting everything else to one side, we've seen a wonderful innings from James Vince. who has shown what a class player he is. 83 from the skipper. And now 15 runs needed to win, 4 overs remaining. The skipper is back on for Sussex, skipper to skipper. Hat-trick would be nice now for Sussex. You never know.
You never know. Tyrone Mills is the man to do it, isn't he? But we can talk about where Sussex have lost this game, but it's tough to look past how brilliant James Vince has been today.
So, Jamal Mills coming into bowl to James Vince. He's in over the wicket bowl, short, and Vince clips this one away onto the leg side. They've taken one, they'll think about 2. They're coming back for the second, that's well run. Finn Hudson-Prentice, who's very quick across the ground, but James Vince was always looking for 2 there. And he goes to 85 off of just 44 balls. So he's striking at just a little less than 200. It's been, you know, he's taken it on from the beginning. He didn't want to leave anything to chance for Hampshire. And it's been a masterful innings. 13 to win for Hampshire, 23 balls remaining, and 6 wickets in hand. Mills again runs away from us. In and bowls, and Vince hammers that down the ground. Is that going to go for 4 runs? Yes, it does. Finn Hudson-Prentice is a very good fielder, a fine fielder, quick across the ground, but it was belted almost gun barrel straight down the ground by James Vince. He goes to 89. 9 needed to win. 22 balls remaining. And there's just about enough time here for James Vince to go through to a century. He needs another 11 for that to happen. 159 for 4.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Here comes Mills, running away from us. And bowls wide of the off stump, and it's signalled as a wide. Jamal Mills looks disappointed, but it's another 1 to the total. 8 needed to win. Well, it has been a class innings, hasn't it, from James Vince, and we were wondering if he was going to bat. And suddenly the first ball that he faced, he took his hand off the bat, and we thought, oh, that may not be too clever.
It's been incredible innings, isn't it? I mean, it's almost been the perfect T20 innings. Go hard at the power play, get ahead of the run rate, get yourself down to a run of ball, and then just play. It's been perfect.
As you say, his 400th and something T20 match. He's vastly experienced, as is Jamal Mills. In and bowls, and Vince is going to... Well, that's not one of his better shots, and Jamal Mills looks ruefully at James Vince. He's got that one away through short fine leg for 4 runs. James Vince goes to 93. 164 for 4, and I think we should leave the last rights to you, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Well, it's going to be a Hampshire win. It's just whether James Vince can manipulate it to get 100. I don't think he'll worry about that, actually. I think he's more interested in just finishing the game, keeping the run rate up, and helping Hampshire get through to the quarter-finals. Let's have a quick look at the live table. I mean, things are going to change anyway, but it'll be difficult to work that out. But I think they're certainly in a good position. As Mills bowls, Vince works that away on the onside. He runs the first one quickly. He won't get 2, surely. Well, I think Fuller was ready to go, but as he went out towards deep mid-wicket, that would have been suicidal.
I think it looks like Glamorgan are going to lose, and I think that almost makes it certain that Hampshire will go through it. Kent, it's all very good, but I think they're pretty much home and hose. Let me just have a quick look at this.
Well, Hampshire will go to 30 points. With a win here.
Kent could get to 30, I think, if they win.
They can get to 30, they can, with 2 games left, including today.
Yeah.
Gloucestershire are out of it for me.
Well, I think they could still squeak in. They've got another 2 to play. They could get to 28, but they couldn't catch Hampshire.
No, they might get to 4th. Yeah, sorry, yeah. I was thinking from a Hampshire point of view, yeah. Here's Mills then. Over the wicket to Fuller. Fuller works that away on the onside. They'll pick up 1. They're coming back for 2, and the scores are level here at the Utilita Bowl with over 3 overs remaining in the game.
And Sussex could still get 30 points, because if they won their last 2, but Sussex's run rate is inferior to Hampshire's.
So I think I think we're saying that Hampshire are through.
Yeah, well, I think if Sussex win their last 2, they could tie on points with Hampshire.
But can anybody else get up there?
Kent could.
Right, so it's not.
But Kent's run rate is minus 0.5, so they're pretty much home and hosed, Hampshire.
Yeah.
But not quite.
So they could lose basically the next game and still
probably go through on run rate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that Hampshire fans are not used to, that's for sure, but looks like it's still waiting to be decided on Thursday. Right, here we go, 167 for 4, the field is in. Bowling to Fuller, bowls, and Fuller just dabs that quietly down on the offside, much to the delight of the crowd, because it does give James Vince an outside chance of getting 100, because he's on 94 with Hampshire needing 1 to win.
I'm sure the crowd would like to see it happen, and has been a terrific, no question about that.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable, it really is. James Vince just defies everything, really. It was very disappointing when he wasn't playing Championship cricket when that was announced, but take nothing away from him. He might only be playing T20 cricket for Hampshire, but my word, they still need him.
Well, there we are. He's hitting towards that short offside boundary. But I'm sure he'd like 100, Kevin.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one shot that's definitely on his deep mid-wicket, but there's somebody there. Right, here's Lamb, bowls, Vince hits it on the onside, doesn't get anything there. Danny Lamb tasked with either spoiling proceedings for the crowd and for James Vince, or... do we see James Vince getting a 6? Well, he's kept that one full. I guess to give Lamb himself a chance, he's got to keep it full near the crowd. They want the 6. Here we go, Danny Lamb in. Scores level. Danny Lamb bowls to Vince. He hits it over extra cover. It won't be 6, but it will be 4. And that is the game for Hampshire. Vince finishes on 98 not out. Hampshire have won this game by 6 wickets, and in all probability have got themselves a quarter-final place. We can't say that 100%, but we can almost go as far as to say probably 80-85%. That quarter-final place is assured. A wonderful, wonderful innings from James Vince gives Hampshire a well-deserved victory.
I was just watching there. I mean, first of all, well batted James Vince. That was a masterclass of a T20 innings. I'm just looking at the players here. They're all shaking hands, which is good to see. And let's hope there's not going to be. Well, we'll have to see. We don't know what happened, if indeed anything did happen. We've had reports that there was some sort of an altercation, but we'll wait for that to be confirmed. The players making their way off. What we do know is that Hampshire have got 1 foot in the quarter-finals. Sussex, though, are probably still in it, but they will be dependent on results elsewhere. Well, actually, if they won their last 2 games, they could still make it. We'll have to see how it pans out when we see the table. But well played to Hampshire, a convincing win, and a masterclass of an innings from James Vince.
Yeah, that's for sure. James Vince will get all the plaudits as he walks off up towards the pavilion. This crowd rises and applauds. A real captain's innings here. Hampshire winning this game by 6 wickets with 10 balls to spare. Thank you to Charlie Harden. Thank you, Adrian Harms.
Thank you, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, hope you've enjoyed the commentary. Hope you've enjoyed the excellent game that's been provided here. Just one little unsavoury moment that will probably tarnish this Hampshire win, but that's 3 wins on the bounce now for Hampshire. And my word, we could be seeing in Hampshire into the quarter-finals once more. Cheers, what I make.
Parked on site, the car parks on site will be held for approximately 20 minutes now until the bulk of the pedestrian traffic is leaving has exited. If you are catching the free shuttle buses that head outside the West Gate, they are headed for Hedge End and Parkway railway stations. We would love you to stay there and enjoy